How was yours?
Did you gamble on the sports ball?
Oh, I sure did. You bet I did.
Ah, that's a pun. You bet.
Yeah. Oh, good one. Yes. I
Wait, hold
didn't
on.
catch that.
Oh, it's playing back at me. I'll figure out where it is. Let me mute this. Hold on.
Delay.
There we are. Okay.
Yes, I do love me some sports gambling.
You bet, he says. You bet.
I do not recommend it to anybody, but I particularly enjoy it. I've had fun this football season. Even
Absolutely.
though, well, actually, I'm up a little, but a lot of swings, a lot of highs and lows, a lot of streaky. Yes, it's. Wouldn't recommend getting too carried away with it because it'll drive you crazy because there's just so many weird things that can happen in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Players get injured or refs make a terrible call or you get a flag at the end. You can just things that can just swing the game or just break a parlay. That's always frustrating too.
But, so are you up since all these gambling apps have come through? I mean, the big news was Patrick Mahomes whining like a little punk. Can't stand that guy. Can't stand that team. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. I can't stand anything about them.
Well, I think he had a reason to gripe about that. That was a terrible call. I mean, the guy was a little over the line, but to actually just
it was so obvious.
Yeah, but that didn't seem like it. I want to see these awesome plays stand and find these little technicalities and he's 3 inches over this imaginary line, so no, we're gonna take it back, and now they lose.
Yeah, I don't play no imaginary line. It's literally the line of scrimmage. Like it's the line that determines everything.
I hear you, but sometimes they're a little too by the book, and that's just annoying. Let them play.
Yeah.
And I always think the home field. I always think the home team should have just a little bit. Like the tie goes to the home team, but and it's weird because they've had a falling out with the refs because usually Kansas City gets all the calls. But that was strange to see them take that one away at the last minute.
Well, it made me happy. Those Chiefs have battered my Cleveland Browns. We would have went to the AFC Championship game against the Bills in 2020 with Baker Mayfield if it weren't for that helmet-to-helmet from Dirty Dan Sorensen. The Hollywood Higgins touchdown going into the end zone, but it cracked him in the helmet. Should have been an obvious targeting, unnecessary roughness, helmet-to-helmet. Like you could have called 10 different fouls. And they let him get away with it. Instead, the ball pops out, goes through the end zone. Instead of us having 7 points, the ball goes as a touchback. Kansas City Chiefs get possession. We lose the game by less than 7. That was the difference in the whole damn game. So, I got no love for Kansas City. I will say I do like their fans. I went to that home opener the next year, and the fans were really cool. They were really nice. I did enjoy them. But anyway, I digress. This isn't necessarily our sports show, so let's get into the other stuff. This is the Agree to Disagree show on the New American Media because the old American Media has failed you. It's Tuesday, December 12, 2023. Happy eternal birthday to my mother. And we are going to talk about the news that's fit to print, as they used to say. But we're going to discuss Bud Light. Will you drink that if you're a patriot? Gallons of it. By the way, who the hell measures beer in gallons? What a goofball. Spoken like a guy that probably doesn't drink beer.
Did you go to college, Brian? Beer by the gallon?
Tell me, where does beer get served in a gallon?
Well, it's not milk. By the gallon is just an expression. But yes.
No, there's no expression that beer is ever referred to as gallonized. You can have a keg of beer. You can have a beer ball. You could have a shoe of beer. You can have like one a boot. Das Boot, yes. A boot of beer. What do you think about that? Yeah, a 6-pack, a 12-pack, a 30-pack, but it's never a gallon. Like, it's the dumbest. It is so wonky and contrived. Just that phrase that came out. Not even what Dana said.
How about a growler? There you go. Growlers and growlers of beer.
Yeah, just like that. So we're going to discuss that. If you're a patriot, you should be drinking gallons of Bud Light. We're going to discuss all the things about the Middle East. We're going to discuss President Milei of Argentina. Is he actually a globalist in disguise? I don't even know how disguised it might be anymore. Did they let one get past the goalie? I don't know. I mean, It's not like there were many other options, but we were kind of excited about them. Should we stay excited about them? We're also going to discuss warrantless wiretaps. Yeah, you know, won't somebody think of the children? It's still cool that we spy on everybody, violating our Fifth Amendment right. No, our Fourth. What amendment is it? Fourth Amendment.
Fourth.
Right, to against illegal search and seizure. We're going to discuss about that being back in the news. Alternative media, does that threaten democracy? Do you agree or disagree with that redunculous phrase? And then Alex Jones back on Twitter X. It is interesting. Yes, Frankie, a barrel of beer, a barrel of monkeys, a barrel of beer, but gallons? There's no such thing as a gallon of beer. It's not measured in gallons ever. You get a 2-gallon jug of milk, right? Or a gallon of milk? Yeah. Jane is saying we will never know who's good and who's not. We will know who is good and who is not by their actions and their deeds, not their words.
Oh, it's such a mess right now. It's the infighting with Alex Jones being brought back, and there's so many different people, especially in the conservative, libertarian, alt media. There's just seems to be a lot of infighting and controversy.
You know what? We need to discuss the Netflix thing, that racist movie that Barack Obama and his partner are affiliated with. That's big news. And also, news,
but it's just like one line, right? In the movie, I didn't see the whole movie.
That's a pretty damn important racist fucking line.
Yeah,
that's a gross thing to put in there. But it exposes exactly who the Obamas are and who they always have been. It explains how LeBron James went from a very likable public figure to just an insufferable Muhammad Ali-esque, self-flagellating, self-congratulating on the wrong side of every major story person because he was led astray by the glory of Barack Hussein Obama in the White House. Everything about the Obamas is divisive and toxic. And so this movie, it's something, you know, at the core of what this movie is on Netflix that the Obamas have produced. And apparently, according to some reports, had a very strong consulting voice in crafting the final product. Some people are trying to explain it away that they had nothing to do with it. You know, let's let this come out in the wash, but it's exactly who I've always known Obama to be. And it's kind of the cancer that's rotting at our nation. Honestly, if you look at BLM, you look at the race riots, you look at what's going on with the Hamas supporters disguised as Palestinian supporters
all across
the nation.
Supporters.
It's the same thing that they've been pushing.
Palestinian supporters, but that the Zionists like to say are Hamas supporters. I don't know how many.
What is a Zionist, though? Just so we're clear, a Zionist is what?
The Zionists are the people that say they have a claim to Israel. So
that wasn't the definition we had. The definition we had was someone that wants to see the state of Israel continuing to exist.
Right.
You have a different definition?
Reclaim that land, the biblical land, and say that it's theirs and take it.
Well, yes. The ones that are currently there now, because if we're going to do this ancient blood feud stuff, we're going to have Mexico fighting the United States nonstop. And it's okay to have an intifada because Mexico used to be in New Mexico. Blake, I know you're living in Vegas, but that used to be, pick your Aztec, Inca, Maya territory. So it's okay that they blow things up. They're just throwing rockets. They're little rockets. The U.S. has nukes. The U.S. are the bad guys. They're indigenous. We got to keep fighting till we're dead. We just got to keep preaching this hatred. No, Blake, they exist there now. And my understanding is a Zionist is just someone that wants things to continue. But hence it's the importance of the definition.
Okay, we'll look that up again, Brian. We can do that.
You look one up and you show one to me because I pulled the last one. Maybe I found one, but whatever I pulled up, I asked you, do you agree that this is how you're defining Zionist? Because I don't know. It's used as a slur. You can agree that Zionist is definitely
not
used
really. No, I don't think it's a slur, but I mean, it's like
absolutely.
It's a slur to say that a Palestinian supporter or somebody who's against the innocent people getting bombed is a Hamas supporter. That is something that Zionists do. I'm sorry.
Well, but I think what we saw with the Ivy League school interrogation last week, it's a thinly veiled genocide supporting stance that no, I'm just pro-Palestinian. No, you want genocide.
It's not pro-genocide. See, you're twisting this again, Brian. No,
we'll get into that toward the end of the show.
We're definitely going to get into it. Yes. Looking forward.
We will. All right, but let's jump into our first topic about an alternative media trailblazer who was silenced for. By the way, he wasn't silenced for what you think he was silenced for. He was silenced because of some dope named Darcy. He's back on Twitter X. Actually, he's on X for the first time. He's not coming back because X didn't exist. I got to be precise with my words, but we will get into that right now.
Yeah.
All right, Blake, the times they are a-changing. Agree or disagree that Alex Jones deserves to have his second chance on Twitter X?
Yes, agree, of course. Absolutely. I think everybody should be on there. That, this is America. I mean, unless you're like, calling for, violence or, genocide on innocent people.
So like Intifada or From the River to the Sea, doing an extermination of the vermin that are there. Right. Okay. Right. That's not good speech. Okay.
I wouldn't call for it. I think everybody should be, unless you're calling from like an anonymous account. I don't know exactly where I draw the line.
It gets a little
hate speech, and people should have like maybe a label or something on there. There should be some sort of, punishment in place for certain people that abuse situations. I would agree with that, but
free speech is uncomfortable speech. Speech that is agreed with doesn't need protection, and it gets dicey. It gets tricky. Like we saw at Harvard and what was it, Brown and Yale, or what was the other one? The three Ivy Leaguers that were up there and were giggling.
On this, and I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but I'm seriously, how bad is this? Because anytime I walk by a TV and there's Fox News on it, all I hear is, oh my God, it's like this epidemic of anti-Semitism on campuses. Is it really that bad, or is it like being exaggerated?
It was Scooby-Doo episoded. They pulled the mask off of these. I don't know. I forget the titles. Were they the professor? Were they the dean? Yeah. Were they the legal advisor? I forget the titles of the three people. But they were up there smirking and laughing, and they would not say that calling for the genocide of Jews violated their campus policy. Over and over directed, yes or no. Does this violate? Well, if it's targeted and if it's directed and if they take action. Oh, you mean if they take action and commit genocide, then they can get kicked off your campus. You're saying you support it. It's Scooby-Doo masked them. And that's why I'm saying it's thinly veiled calls for extermination that are like, no. They just kind of want to, be free from the water to the water. It's like, no. Intifada, like you're shaking off the fleas of a dog. You don't take the fleas out for a walk. You don't buy them ice cream. You kill them. That's there is no mincing words here. And these Ivy League schools are at least exposing who they are. So yeah, I think it is a very big deal. Now, I think anybody, be it BLM, be it any Jewish community, and okay, straight white males like me, everybody is discriminated to some degree for some reason. Things we have control over, maybe the religion we choose, things we don't have control over, like the color of, like the melanin content of our skin, which is why I found it so abhorrent that Barack Obama's movie that he put on Netflix said that you can't trust white people if the world ever falls apart. But once again, it's the Scooby-Doo mask. That's who these angry, bitter, grotesque humans are. So, like, let's take the masks off. And like you're right about
genocide. Are they actually calling for genocide?
Wait, one last point. Yeah. One last point. The only way that we're going to have a good conversation that takes us somewhere and understand other people, you have to let them talk so you can hear how disgusting they actually are. When it's in this world where we can't even type a swear word on Twitter or on Facebook, and so it's like the dollar sign, the hashtag sign, the little speckly sign, whatever that's called, and then the plus sign to say shit. It's like we're trying to say the same thing, but now we're guarding it. We're being so careful and sneaky so that we don't get caught up in the algorithm, but we're not saying what we really mean. Say what you really mean, and let's have a conversation about it.
Okay, well, that's fine. They should have conversations about it on campus. So are people actually calling for genocide of Jews on campus? Is there like video of something like that? I've seen some of these kids get like terrorized, and that's awful, and I would absolutely condemn that. And I've seen them do the same thing to conservative speakers that come and try to speak at the university.
It's the same group of people.
All
it's
right,
the same
anybody
BLM
for genocide?
Antifa hummus people.
Okay,
it's the same group. They just wave a different flag. They have their face masks.
Right.
It's the same brown shirts terrorizing the world. It's the same group. BLM, Antifa, hummus, same group. Some of them are more actively violent than the others, but they all have it in their souls.
Okay, yeah.
They have been brainwashed and abused by their teachers and their parents and their communities.
I'll condemn Antifa. I will condemn Hamas. And BLM, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think they're all like bad or anything, but
No, good people get sucked up into it. They think that they're doing something.
But if somebody says from the river to the sea, people should be free, does that mean isn't that getting twisting it and saying, oh, they're calling for genocide? Like, no, they're not. Are they actually saying we should exterminate Jews on campuses? So I'm wondering, because if I walk by the Fox News, it just sounds like there's an epidemic. Oh my God, all these poor Jewish students are getting terrorized by these Hamas supporters. Like, is that really happening, or is it twisting and exaggerating? Because I'm curious. From what
maybe what we could do when we get into that segment toward the end, maybe we could play. It's like 3 minutes of just the clip of those three ladies up there smirking and not saying what it is.
Right.
But as far as what exactly is being chanted. I mean, it's so thinly veiled to claim that from the river to the sea is not a call for the extermination of the vermin that are infesting that area.
People understand.
Absolutely, that's what
they
that
are
means. I think that's what that means.
So they're just and they're like, what they really mean is genocide. What they really want to do is they want to kill all the Jews. That's what they mean, or are they just saying?
What is your understanding of the definition of intifada?
Well, do they think those people? A lot of those people are totally ignorant. Is my one of my issues. I don't know why they're so passionate about either side, but I think they just people are anti-genocide. So how come people that are anti-genocide are all of a sudden pro-genocide when it comes?
They're not anti-genocide. They refuse to accept that there's a little couple of mile stretch where people exist there, not under Sharia law. They don't like that at some point it used to be somebody else's. 70 years of constant warfare.
Right.
They want them wiped out. We saw this in World War II, or we didn't, according to some people. Now we've picked the scab off. The scab is off this whole Jewish question. I hate this topic. I hate getting into this stuff. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not Islamic. Right. I'm not Jewish. I don't particularly care, other than I don't want to see people needlessly, unnecessarily, I was combining those words there, needlessly and unnecessarily being raped and butchered in the hundreds and thousands. It's awful. I hate that stuff. Otherwise, neither of those are my religions. I don't care per se. I'm not rooting for one over the other. It's just one is constantly always being attacked. And yes, it is so thinly veiled.
But one
try to sit there and
smirk and claim no matter what.
From the river to the sea and claiming for genocide is not something that they should be kicked off campus.
Oh my God. I don't think those people actually knowingly think that. But it'd be different.
We'll get into it. All right, let's get back to Alex Jones.
All right, we agree. It's totally exaggerated by Fox News.
We agree that leftists will excuse away all sorts of violent calls to action under the thinly veiled guise of smirk. It's a nice phrase. When we say to the river to the sea, we want to go hand in hand and dance with the Jews. No, they don't. They want them dead. They want them butchered. They want them exterminated.
Oh my God.
Stop. They do. You know they do.
You want to throw them in the gas chamber. Yes. Right.
Well, there's people that say those didn't even exist. I don't know who those people are, but some of those people do say that. Some people say the numbers were greatly exaggerated. I have nothing to do
with any of that, just so I'm very clear on that.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying some say that the numbers were vastly exaggerated. And you can find moments in time, decades that have passed, that the 6 million used to be 5 million. It used to be 4 million. It used to be 3 million. It used to be 2 million. And then at one point, it used to be, in some circles, some people say that it was just common knowledge that the supply routes were bombed by the Allied. And when They were in the middle of the war. Who were the ones that were denied and deprived supplies, such as food and medicine? It was the prisoners of war. And yes, they died at large numbers, and that it wasn't necessarily an extermination technique and tactic. I wasn't there. I'm not claiming that to be true. But the scab's off. We're talking about all this gross shit. I don't know. I mean, now we're hearing from all sorts of people. So, but once again, should we have the ability to have an open and uncomfortable conversation? Or does Big Brother need to dominate everything that we do and get us canceled, get us fired, get us excluded? Like the truckers in Canada, you're not allowed to have a bank account, and they steal your money and they track you down and throw you in jail if you're peacefully protesting at Washington, D.C. I mean, like it gets into a very strange anti-utopian Orwellian nightmare. Hi, Jocelyn. Welcome to our chit chat. But yeah, I mean, look, the ugly scabs are off, Blake.
It's becoming very
it's gross.
Right.
It's gross right now.
But we're gonna jump right into it. This is great. This is a new cycle of a lifetime. It's never been like this. Now we don't know who as Jane is saying, we don't know who the good and the bad people are. And you're starting to
Javier Milei. Do we like him? Do we not? We're gonna find out by his deeds, but he's meeting with Zelensky and giving him a menorah. Day one? What? This is a little different than what you campaigned on. This sure seems like a very important signal you're sending. Jocelyn says, most do not know that Palestine wants to get rid of Israel, but all the Elohim worshippers need to do some research.
That's when we should get into the Elohim. Are they a real thing, and are they coming back, and are they going to be our overlords? Who are the overlords? Are they the Elohim, or are they the Anunnaki, or something else?
The Nephilim.
Nephilim, right? Who knows?
The Greys.
Yeah, Greys. Who else? The Pleiadians.
The Ben Franklin's Seven Sisters Masonic Lodge in Philadelphia. The Seven Sisters refers to the constellation, or to the constellation? What am I trying to say? Yeah, constellation of Pleiades, the Seven Sisters in the sky.
Right? Or the
I mean, you go back. There's tales of what's that?
The lizard people.
It all goes back to lizard people. You're back to Alex Jones, interdimensional elves. What did he say? Interdimensional.
Yeah, it's clockwork. I think you see them when you're like on DMT or something, on ayahuasca.
Jocelyn says the L are space gods who tweaked our DNA. They are coming back, and that was the story of the Anunnaki in South Africa, where it was claimed that humanity began, where the people from the skies, the Anunnaki, came down in chariots of fire and took the thing that was there, which was some sort of Cro-Magnon man, some sort of ape, and they blended human or their DNA with what happened to be there. So kind of like how I believe it was George Carlin said, wanted to make us smart enough to work the machines, but too dumb to ask questions. And the job of these early humans was to mine gold. And wow, what is it that the Jews are always accused of? Oh, they are money worshiping, greedy. We've been kicked out of for hundreds of years. We've been kicked out of country after country after country. We're so persecuted. And then the question comes up, well, what's the common denominator out of getting kicked out of all these countries? Is it you? Is it your love of money being the root of all evil? These are the conversations that some people are having. But the story about the Anunnaki was that they were digging for gold, and they didn't want to go down. They were too large, and they didn't want to go down the mine shafts. They dug down and they harvested as much gold as they could because they needed it. Something in their environment, something in their biology lacked what gold could provide. They needed it in a dust form. They needed to consume it. They needed it in their atmosphere.
Yes.
Yep. And so the question remains, why are we still addicted to gold these days? Yes, it's a precious metal. Yes, it has utilitarian purposes. Yes, it's a store of wealth. But what else? It could have a purpose. And that song, I believe I referenced on a previous episode last week by Incubus, where it says it's coming around again. You know, there's theories that Saturn comes back around. That's a Maynard James Keenan lyric from Tool, that there are cycles that happen galactically, and that they show up and go, hey, for your protection, we need to harvest that gold. You've been working so hard. Let's see your vaults. Yeah, forget about it. Yeah, we'll take all that. Thank you very much. Oh, by the way, your Earth women are pretty gorgeous. I'll have a few of them too. All right. Now we're back on our route. And then they take off and come back 13,000 years later, or whatever the cycles are. And it's just this ancient tale of who we are and how we got here. I don't know what the hell's true. I don't know what happened in World War II. I wasn't there. I don't know what happened 2,000 years ago when Jesus Christ, by almost all accounts, by anybody being intellectually honest, was at least a person that walked in that region around that time. The rest of it's up for debate, of course. And the Jews are not a fan of saying that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And the Muslims, the Abrahamic traditions, they can say, yeah, Jesus was he was a character. He was a guy that did some things and some good things even, but he's not the Messiah. He's not our Messiah. Like, we weren't around for any of these things. All we get are dusty books from dusty people. We have people in power and control, and it's obvious that we should be suspicious of anyone who's limiting our ability to have an open conversation about what the is going on here.
I guess the advantage in the future, if there is a future, is that they'll be able to look at our old TikTok videos and figure this all out. Because, there are no videos of Jesus or any of those historical events from those times.
But it is funny when you look at like ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. It's very similar to shooting emojis out today. You know, maybe they won't fully understand the peach or the eggplant, but a lot of the other ones are kind of showing, depicting what you're feeling and showing the emotion of the person. Jocelyn says Christianity began 300 years after Jesus's death.
Well, as Emperor Constantine of Rome, and he decided, because they were all pagans, and he just had a vision and decided to pick Christianity over, I think, Mithralism. And so they covered up a lot of the pagan holidays with Christian holidays. And then that's kind of how Christianity came about, at least for the Roman Empire, and unifying the empire under one religion. So, yeah, there's a lot to that history. So who knows? And then, there's a lot of, really crazy things about, humanity over the years. And we don't know
the Council of Nicaea taking certain, at the Council of Nicaea, then taking certain books out of the Bible.
The Gnostic Gospels. And there's a lot of stuff going on.
The Book of Enoch, and you got Dead Sea Scrolls, maybe not. And, it's all so convoluted, man. What are we killing each other over whose version of the flying spaghetti monster is more accurate? What are we doing that for? Yeah, Jesus maybe didn't believe in religion. I mean, I was reading up on Islam and finding out how the accusations are that the Catholic Church created Islam so that you could have a boogeyman. The same thing has been said, Blake, in your corner, roughly, about Bibi, who you seem to be convinced is a devil. Fine, you can say your words. I won't, but I don't think I'm too far off in saying that. And by the way,
but he created Hamas as an adversary.
But then it got out of hand, and it's like Wuhan, China. Oh, we created a monster because nobody wants to see COVID no more. They want the flu. I'm chopped liver. So it's like you create Frankenstein, but then he gets loose and just wreaks havoc across your village. So is this true? Is this untrue? I don't know. I wasn't there. But that's what people are saying, because this big ugly scab has been ripped off. And now it's coming out. And there's legitimate Jew hatred. There's legitimate hatred of the state of Israel existing where it is. Islam being a global government force. Not to say they're masquerading as a religion, but it is so intertwined. It is the exact same. It is the exact same. And in Christianity, there are calls to go spread the word of the Lord and go try to win souls. But it's not really at the end of a sword. I mean, when I grew up, it was like, oh, now Spanish Inquisition, set that aside for a second. But when you're talking about the Holy Land and you're talking about the Crusade, that was to push the empire that had come up from Africa, from the Middle East, all across Europe. That was to push that back. That was a resisting force. But I was taught, no, Christians are evil and violent, because I was being brainwashed by, the same people who are teaching people today. So, I mean, it's the same as that movie, Blake, Consider the Source. What is that one? Memento, where he doesn't have, he can't keep short-term memories. And so, like, he has to start getting tattoos because every so long his brain resets.
Yeah. It's like retrograde amnesia or something like that. So every time you fall asleep, that's a real life thing. Yeah, they fall asleep and then they don't remember it. They did Adam Sandler movie too, the 41st Dates or whatever.
Yeah, something same similar to that.
No, it was the same condition. Yeah. Retrograde.
And so it's Consider the Source was the tattoo he had on his arm, was Consider the Source. So, anybody that's trying to take religion to bastardize it and just call for violence and uprisings and just butchery, I'm not a fan of that crap. I'm just not. So anyway, God, we delved into all sorts of weird stuff. Instead of Alex Jones, Blake, let's get back to Alex Jones and talk about, kind of walk us through the timeline a little bit. What was he kicked off of Twitter for in the first place? Because people say, oh, it's because he said that a shooting didn't happen with those kids. Okay, that's not accurate.
Well, that's probably one of the things that led up to it, but I think it was the final, the last straw was him confronting Oliver Darcy, shameless hack at CNN in the halls of Congress. So he called him out, and he was terrified.
What makes Oliver Darcy untouchable?
What's that?
I remember when they the Democrats paraded up a Gold Star family, a Gold Star mother, or a Gold Star father, to bash Trump about something, and they were lying about him and talking shit, and it's like, oh well, you can't disagree with a Gold Star mom. It's like, yes, you can. When you've turned this into a political sideshow, you discuss the content of the argument. You don't get to hide behind a magical cloak, like, oh, I got a shield, I'm a Gold Star, I can say any sort of bullshit possible. And that's kind of what the ADL has been accused of, rightfully so, and other organizations trying to shut Twitter down, going after Elon, going after all sorts of people, because, Blake, as you said, not all comments are actually anti-Semitism, but honest critiques and criticisms of the government and the actions. Why is this all getting shut down under the force field? Haha, I got a shield. You can't discuss it because you're an anti-Semite. It's like, hold on here. Like, you have to be able to talk about this stuff. And anytime you're silenced aggressively, you just kind of have to wonder, are you trying to pull one over on me? But what was so special about Oliver Darcy? Little nerd. Not particularly talented or accurate or anything.
No, he's just willing to spread regime propaganda shamelessly. So he gets the power and the big paychecks from CNN. So let's take a look. See if I can run this clip. Good, we got Rumble back. Here we go. Let's watch this. It's a 3-minute clip.
For censorship, and then claims that, look at this right here, the guy that,
oh yep, he called out, he recognized Oliver Darcy, Alex Jones, and called him out. And here you see Oliver's freaking out.
Goes around policing and calling for censorship, and then claims that Trump's wrong, there's no censorship of conservatives or patriots.
Yeah, it's the great irony is, yes, he's calling for censorship, and then actually he get Alex Jones censored.
Are incredibly shameful.
How are you doing, Alex?
Eyes of the rat. Eyes of the rat. Eyes of the rat.
Careful, we can't get a copyright strike on a song, buddy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. That's a made-up song. Right? That's not a real song, is it?
Every song is made up.
Oh my God, we're gonna get like 1 billion views on this, and we're not gonna get any revenue from YouTube now.
I'm just saying,
yeah.
we can't play stuff with music, but
well, I didn't know what it was, so it was just here. See the hilarious video of Alex Jones. But yes, he called out Oliver Darcy in Congress, right to his face. And
but what did he do that was wrong? Did he threaten him? Did he punch him? Did he
no.
Did he terrorize? Like he just confronted him. That's what you do. You have uncomfortable conversations with uncomfortable people when you do uncomfortable stuff.
Yeah.
Like, what is the big deal here? Does this continue? Does he ratchet this up? Does he dox him like LeBron James did to what he thought was George Zimmerman? Or no, I'm sorry, LeBron doxed the cop by showing his picture and trying to call for his intifada against this guy because he shot a black girl who was, by the way, trying to stab and kill another black girl, and the hero cop saved him. LeBron doxed the cop, or like Spike Lee when he doxed what he thought was George Zimmerman, by the way, who got attacked and defended himself down in Florida. It ended up being an elderly family in their 80s, but with the same last name. Zimmerman had to move out after their home had all their windows busted out. They might have set it on fire, spray painted, and terrorized. You know, did he do any of that to Oliver Darcy? Because that crosses a line. That crosses clear lines of where you shouldn't be. That's not speech. That's an aggressive, targeted campaign of violence and intimidation.
No, to my knowledge, no. It was ridiculous. It was just like, hey, this is great watching him confront this clown, and all of a sudden he got banned for it.
Look at those eyes right there.
CNN's got a lot of had a lot of influence within Twitter to get this done.
That's what wants to run your life, folks. And if you don't start running your life, he's going to run it. He's already thinks he's got scalps. He's one of the main progenitors in this whole operation. You don't think we don't know about Obama's countering disinformation and propaganda act? You don't think all that's going to come out who's funding this? And your little ID card and all the rest of it? You think we're stupid? You think we're playing games, huh? Think we don't know a thing or two, son? That's illegal, what Obama set up. It's all going to come down. You think that you've got some Democrats and some committees and some stay-behind networks like the 37 angry Democrats in the Justice Department trying to shut down Trump? You think you've got a rogue group operating inside those agencies that you're going to be able to shut down the free press in America? We are here. Paul Revere is here.
Oliver Darcy is shitting his pants in this picture.
American people are watching, and they're not going to let you win.
Yeah, that should be like played at the Hague, and they need to bring Darcy up. He's a propagandist who's been perpetuating lies on the American people. Say what you want about Jones, and that's another story. But no, he had every right to confront him there, call him out, and it absolutely scared the shit out of all of these lying propagandists that they have enough influence within big tech and big government and big mainstream media like CNN to finally just get rid of Jones. So he can't. He's not a threat anymore.
Well, remember when the little tech tyrants went after PewDiePie. You're familiar with PewDiePie?
Yeah. Yeah, for doing basically nothing, he just has an enormous channel and tons of influence. They're scared of people like that.
And you know what he was doing? He was taking the ad revenue away from ABC, NBC, CBS, ESPN, Disney. They were taking clicks and views and ad dollars away. So he did a skit where he for a couple of seconds he had that partial mustache thing, and he raised his hand, pointed in a general direction, and had some of his fingers out. And they said, "Oh, you can't make a joke about that guy from 40s Germany. You are now banned." Like, huh? They called it the adpocalypse. The adpocalypse. And Blake, we got caught up in that. I mean, we were knocking out shows, creating content, trying to build an alternative media empire. And it was like our legs were chopped out from under us because we were taking too much revenue share away from the lying legacy media, to the point where I've said this before, there are so many points, so many mile markers of our journey at the New American Media. By the way, follow Blake on Twitter X at TV's Blake Walley and his site, The Next Level News. But at the New American Media, I'll just never forget watching TV and breaking news. There's a shooting at an Ariana Grande concert. This was right when, I believe Barack Hussein Obama was president. This is when ISIS was terrorizing all over Europe because he was behind all of it, coordinating all of it. BLM, Antifa, Hamas, ISIS, it's the same shit. And there was an attack. There were attacks like every couple of weeks, it seemed. And it was getting really bad. And so I went on and did a show and said, hey, this is an attack that happened here at the Ariana Grande concert. I said, well, look, if you go to an event like this is what you do. When you park, you need to find a way to take time for your entire group to remember where your vehicle is located. Then when you get in, you need to make sure you're all text each other if you want. Take a picture of the lot that you're in. Make sure you know where your vehicle is in case you get spun around, in case you're in smoke. Make sure you know exactly where you're going to meet up and say, we're going to meet at the car if everything goes to hell. If things get weird inside, we're going to meet at this gate right here, and you pick a spot by this trash can. If you're inside, you say, look, we're going to pick a secondary meetup spot. If we get separated, this concession stand. Just have a plan. Be aware of your surroundings when you go to these places. So if something happens, you act. And they demonetized my show. I didn't do anything apocalyptic. I didn't do anything that deserved my account being dinged or censored. But they shut that video down, demonetized it, and said that the content was content that they wouldn't allow monetization on their site. Meanwhile, on that same video that we put up on YouTube, the side of the channel, by the way, at some point we used to get suggested videos. YouTube would recommend the New American Media in their algorithm because we were talking about all the best stories, all the underreported stories. We were interviewing cool people, having good conversations. We used to get recommended, but no. At this day, they said, you're not allowed to do this content. We're taking your monetization away. By the way, here's some suggested videos about the Ariana Grande attack. Ariana Grande attack. Ariana Grande attack. It was NBC, ABC, CBS. It was every channel. And when you clicked on them, sure as shit, they were monetized. You had to watch a 30-second Chevrolet commercial to get to the video. And it's like, you motherfuckers. It was so obvious what they were doing to censor content online. And you know what, by the way, sometimes I cuss just to remind the viewing audience that I can. Just to remind me that I can. Now, maybe if I took a corporate gig, maybe if we got some sponsors and we decided it wasn't going to be the direction, I would probably do my due diligence and my darndest, rather, to not casually cuss. But you know what? It's 2023, and we're supposed to have access to this internet. And the lying legacy media has just gone so far above and beyond their censorship regime to take out their political opponents. All Alex Jones did there was confront a guy that's a scumbag. And he didn't do anything to dox him or threaten him. Him going down for that was absolutely absurd. And far be it from me, because I've seen Alex go overboard so many times. I've always wanted to keep distance. I did speak with him at the RNC briefly, and we did film him at another event down there at the waterfront. But a little bit of distance, getting a little too close to stuff that gets a little too radioactive is probably smart. But you got to have these voices in the conversation.
Yeah,
but yeah,
I agree that. And the establishment doesn't want that. They don't want the competition, and they want to control the narrative. So obviously, yes, we're at war. So now. And ironically, the information war, info war, Alex Jones. And so they took them out. They infiltrated all of these companies. So it's really hard to get our voices heard. And yes, it's been rigged against us ever since. So now we're trying to rebuild everything on either an X or Rumble or what have you. And here is a video on Rumble with Alex explaining to Tucker what really happened and why he was banned the first time. So let's run this clip.
I was taken off Twitter, not for the Sandy Hook stuff that came later that they focused on. Look it up. They had the former head of Twitter and the lawyer on Joe Rogan about 4 years ago. And Joe said, why did you ban Alex Jones? The lawyer goes, okay, let me open my clipboard. She goes, here's why. He was mean to Oliver Darcy. So I'm at the Capitol. They're having censorship hearings. Sundar Pichai's there. I just confronted him in the hall.
Who runs Google.
And you guys are welcome to use that if you want. And then that was at the Senate. So now they were going over to a House meeting, and there's Oliver Darcy in the line. He gets to get in. I don't even get into a hearing where they then attacked me. They'd attacked me at the last hearing, but I don't get to face my accuser. And so I get in his face. I don't threaten him, but I say, you are an evil man. You're un-American, coming after my free speech, harassing my sponsors, trying to get me off the internet. And the last place I was on was Twitter. They'd held out. And so Jack Dorsey had held out. And so Jack Dorsey admitted, well, the last straw was I bullied Oliver Darcy. And so that's why I was deplatformed. Elon Musk thinks it was the Sandy Hook thing. And notice.
Do you know that in most cultures, bullying Oliver Darcy would be like a rite of passage. Like you couldn't, like that would be a positive good, right?
Well, but here's the thing. He's literally on Twitter taking my sponsors, calling for me to be silenced. So he's been attacking me, attacking my
Right.
speech.
Right.
Can
you pause it there?
And then all I do is
Yeah, maybe rewind it 10 seconds. That is maybe the most important part. Let's make sure that that comes in, because he's actively going after starving them of the revenue that they need to pay their bills and stay alive. If there's anything worse than that, I beg you to find it. Anything short of actual violence, this stuff that people try to claim, oh, it's just politics. No. It gets personal when you try to destroy lives. Just if you could replay that part one more time.
Elon Musk thinks it was the Sandy Hook thing. And notice,
Do you know that in most cultures, bullying Oliver Darcy would be like a rite of passage? Like you couldn't, like that would be a positive good, right?
well, but here's the thing. He's literally on Twitter taking my sponsors, calling for me to be silenced. So he's been attacking me, attacking my speech.
Yeah, it's been Lawfare. It's the Southern Poverty Law Center, Media Matters, which is currently getting sued. And yes, these mainstream companies, and and more, and George Soros groups, and all kinds of other activists that are trying to deplatform, go after our advertisers. It's pretty sickening. Or ADL,
and my living. And then all I do is shove a camera in his face while he's waiting to go into the hearing for 5 minutes and say, man, you are un-American. You got some evil eyes. And I said, you really look like a piece of slime. I mean, I told him that. And
Fair.
And so the point is, he's a man. He's a, quote, journalist in the arena. He goes around harassing people and stalking them financially and their free speech. He'd already bragged that he'd gotten me taken off all this other stuff and that he was instrumental, which he was. And then he can't take me saying, man, you're a jerk.
Yeah, pretty much. So there you go. Heard it right directly. And yes, now we're fighting back. So now Alex is now here, and a lot of people are not happy to see that. It's very one of the most polarizing figures in the media. But yes, he's absolutely right. Darcy deserved to be called out, and that is perfect journalism. And that is a guy who had done all kinds of dirty tricks on Alex before. So as far as I'm concerned, he had it coming. And
he didn't spit in Darcy's face.
No violence.
Like Jimmy Dore did to Alex Jones, and then claimed on Tim Pool's podcast, no, I just did a spit take. I was drinking and I laughed. I couldn't, but did you ever watch that episode where he recently did that?
Yeah, I saw that.
It was a few months ago.
I still get zero credit for that, even from Jimmy or Alex. It was weird. I filmed that. It was a huge video, a viral video, and I'm persona non grata, cut out of all of it, and they just pretend like I don't exist. But he was clearly spit on Alex. He admitted it even on camera. But then, all you got to do is say it. Big deal. At the time, the tensions were high. Zhenk and Alex got, fired up, and then the rest of us got all fired up and excited. He, spontaneously spit in his face. I got all pumped up, and I'm just, it was a weird moment, but it was awesome at the RNC, like this explosive meltdown, and Roger Stone was there. There was so many prominent media people that were there witnessing that whole thing, and it was cool just to be a part of that, even though I'm the forgotten man in this.
I think when that was happening, I was down. I was a little further down. We had split up briefly, and I was down where Ann Coulter. I was with Ann Coulter, and then I talked with Van Jones.
Yeah.
And it was like the ripple effect of this, that it was just the energy of this just sent shockwaves through the entire place. I'm like, what the hell's happening? Turns out you ended up right in his face, but it's not like Alex went and spit in his face and assaulted him, or he just was there. He was just there calling him out for all of how they're weaponizing the Justice Department and the alphabet agencies against conservatives, how they're going after kneecapping the ability for independent media to earn a living. And you know what? That short of violence, that is the worst thing you can do to somebody, to starve them of their ability to provide for their family.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just insane that led to him. And by the way, remember, at this time, Alex wasn't kicked off of Twitter and social media. We were there and we talked with Milo Yiannopoulos the day after he got kicked off. He was the first canary in the coal mine, if I remember correctly. That was a big deal that he got kicked off of Twitter. And we talked to him the next day at the RNC.
Yeah, he was kicked off of Facebook, pretty much. Just depersoned everywhere, and he said a lot of really hyperbolic, crazy shit. But he still deserves to have his spot. So I just, Brian, I mean, do you know anybody on Twitter who you think that should just be banned off of there, who shouldn't be allowed to, put out whatever crazy shit they spew out?
I mean, my understanding is that you have terrorist cell leaders that do have official accounts there. I think that does get into a territory where it's kind of beyond the pale. But then again, it's like, well, what is a terrorist regime? Certainly the United States bombing indiscriminately and all the nonstop warfare. Surely Joe Biden could be accused of being the same. But should Kim Jong-un have an account? Should Vladimir Putin have an account? Should Hillary Clinton, the war criminal, have an account? We came, we saw, he died. Should George W. Bush have an account? So I don't know.
But do you have like a political rival or anybody? Or you're just like, no, this person should just be taken off?
I mean, nobody comes to mind. I think it's funny when they put awful ideas
How about
out there.
Piers Morgan? Do you think he should just have his account suspended? He should be just kicked off all the platforms? Are you threatened by Piers Morgan?
I did enjoy telling Piers Morgan to his face that I just talked about him on my show. I didn't say that I called for him to be deported for his awful anti-American stance on the Second Amendment, but I did tell him that I completely disagree with his position on the Second Amendment. And here's what he told me, Blake. He said, you know what? I wish I could do a better European accent because I would crush it. I know I would do it well. And I've done it before, but I'm so rusty I can't even try. It would come out as like Australian and like, verbally challenged. No, he said, you know what? I appreciate that. I think we should be able to have wide-ranging discussions on issues where we disagree. He said that I appreciate that. And he reached out his hand and shook my hand as a gesture of thank you. Yes, we do disagree, but yes, I think we should be able to openly talk about these things. So what is this article you have here? Is he going back on that theory that he told me to my face, Blake? Is he pushing for censorship when he told me he didn't? Because I am of a unique perspective, uniquely qualified to call him bullshit on that if that's the case, Blake. Tell me that's not so. Was he lying to me?
I mean, he's a bad faith propagandist, but he does have those conversations with people, even though he's already got his mind made up. He's not there to hear your balanced perspective and be open to changing his opinions. So he says Piers he's using his uncensored show to argue why people he doesn't like should be censored. So I got rid of the other one because he wrote an article, I think, in the New York Post. I just got rid of it. Maybe I'll pull it back up again. Let's see. Oh, in fact, here we go. New York Post. Come on. Okay, Elon couldn't be more wrong about Alex Jones. He's not a free speech hero. He's a hate speech monster, and that goes into all of the things he said about Sandy Hook and how his audience, went after the parents, and that was pretty gross. And yeah, there's some things to complain about and call out, but to say that somebody shouldn't have their right to speak, and if you want to do what. If you're upset about his speech, then I think it's great that he's allowed on a platform and you can call him out on that. So he did have a show last night. I didn't see it. I'm not actually sure where it is, but he is talking to a lot of the controversial people, whether it's Andrew Tate or Kyle Rittenhouse, or he had Glenn Greenwald on, and who's the other dude that he had on? last night. I can't remember his name, like Count Dankula. I think, is that his name, Count Dankula? Is that, I don't know what his real name is, but he does have those
Yeah,
conversations.
that's a meme. That's a meme maker, right? Out of somewhere, where Europe, somewhere. Is that his?
I'm not 100%, but there is.
Well, and there's that other guy. What's that other guy's name? The one with the beard. He's been to what's not Dankula. Sorry, I can see his face. I can't picture it.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I think I accidentally went. Carl Benjamin. Carl Benjamin. There we go.
I don't know who that is.
You don't know Carl Benjamin? What about Owen Benjamin?
Yeah, I know Owen Benjamin. He's one of those. He's got some real far out opinions.
I'm telling
You
you,
were like,
you and him
probably
agree
like
on
him. I'm like, are you fucking
everything.
nuts? He's like a crazy flat earther, Holocaust denier. He's got so many opinions that are so fucking toxic. I wouldn't want to have anything to do with it. I mean, I appreciate him being bold and putting it out there, but no, I don't agree with. I don't know why you would even try to lump me in with him. He's your boy, isn't he? He's good buddies with Steven Crowder. That was,
They're not buddies.
not anymore.
They don't
no.
like each other.
But I don't know where you tried to put me in that camp. Not at all.
There is quite an overlap in
Oh my God.
the Israeli commentary. I'm
Yeah,
not
but I'm not a
speaking to what you just
Holocaust
said, that one
denier. I
statement
am
there.
not into this holy fucking crazy shit that him and Nick Fuentes and some of these guys are saying. I'm not like that at all. I don't know why you would lump. That's kind of a disingenuous thing. But
Well, like I said, not that particular one aspect, but there were 20 other. I just scrolling through and listening to a few. I'm like, oh my God, he sounds just like Blake.
oh my God,
Like it,
you're
like
insane.
I'm not saying that I heard him say that the Holocaust never happened. I'm saying some of the other issues about this conflict and about what's going on over there. Anyway,
Right.
I digress.
All right.
Back to Alex Jones.
Yes. So, what other angle do we?
So what was this about his reinstatement being a planned ritual by Mam God? What's Mam God?
That's
Elon?
the mainstream alternative media. That is a new phrase coined by David Icke, who's a big conspiracy theorist. So, kind of an ally of Alex Jones, although there's always some infighting or who knows, little rivalries everywhere. But
It's Mam.
yeah, different ma'am, but yes. Let's see if we can find this. Here we go. Another Paul Joseph Watson article here. Alex Jones is reinstated on X, and David Icke thinks it's all a big conspiracy, apparently long planned by Elon Musk. So actually, why don't I just pull up David Icke's actual tweet, which is a bit long. It says, of course, Alex Jones is back on Twitter. And as I have been writing here, the poll and waiting for God Elon's pronouncement has all been a game to hijack your perception and that of the mainstream alternative media, or MAM. You are being had, people, but most will never get that. They only see what is in front of their eyes, not what is weaved through what they think they see. The decision was made a long time ago, and the Carlson interview with Jones was just the calculated prelude to it. The interview was the setup for what is long planned. Musk could have simply done this long ago to get Alex Jones back on, but there was a ritual that had to be played out to both eulogize Musk, the new man god, and to put Alex Jones center stage as a symbol of the mainstream alternative media alongside Musk, Carlson, Rogan, Tate, Peterson, Brand, Vladi Kamrok, if I'm pronouncing that right, I'm not, and all the rest. They may each have useful things to say about some of the dots, but they stand as a collective blockade to the deep levels of the rabbit hole. Within their dots are mere symptoms, not the cause. So, first of all, I like David Icke a lot. He's done a tremendous amount of work. I agree with a lot of his stuff. Some of it sounds crazy. Some of it maybe he'll be justified. I don't know. I'm not going that far into all the lizard stuff and what have you. But I have a hard time believing that a lot of this is like some kind of conspiracy behind the scenes, and that some of these people are, conspiring as like a collective blockade to cover certain issues and ignore other things. But now
Okay, well, what is he trying to say there? I'm listening. There's a lot of words, but like
I
specifically,
was going to say
what
two
is he
words:
kind of getting at?
controlled opposition. So they're going to be
Okay, that's been said about Alex a long. So that's what, that you cover certain aspects of stories, but you don't finish it or take it to its natural conclusion, and you obscure and ignore like the real part of it, but you take it
yeah.
you kind of sleight of hand. You're doing this, but like it's over there.
Yeah, I guess so. So you're going to be in a new box. So you're going to have the new mainstream media within the alternative
The
media.
new American media.
Well, no, because you weren't a part of that group. Those other people are going to be the more mainstream voices of that, and nobody else, everyone else is going to be shunned, like us and David Icke and your buddy Owen Benjamin and Milo Yiannopoulos, right? And Nick Fuentes.
I didn't even know who Nick Fuentes was
Lunatic
until
fringe.
a year ago. I literally had never heard of the guy.
Yeah, I don't see what the big fuss is about. He's very controversial. He's a smart little guy, but I mean, it's weird to me to see so many people taking seriously this 24-year-old neo-Nazi type. And I don't know if he's another flat earther, but there's a lot of weird stuff going on. I don't even know who I like anymore. The more I find out about some of these people, the more I realize, people are just narcissistic, crazy, ego-driven, trying to get clicks, grifters. I don't know. I've met so many of these people, over the years too. So it's just like you never want to meet your heroes because you realize what absolutely flawed people they really are. So I guess we have to be our own heroes, Brian, because I don't know who's good anymore.
Absolutely.
It's not David Icke or Alex Jones or Elon. I mean, who is it that we really like?
I mean, look, I've had good conversations with Molyneux, with Cernovich,
all right. Yeah,
with John B. Wells, Larry Elder,
Ben Swan.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Ben in a long time. Like, I've had great conversations with a lot of people. I don't trust anybody as far as I could throw Chris Christie. I just don't. And just because we had a good conversation doesn't mean we agree on everything. But it's like, when would I turn down an interesting conversation? Well, you had so-and-so on your show. And what?
Yeah, we want to hear those.
I will talk to whoever the hell I feel like talking to.
Oh, dude,
and in their words, they will reveal themselves.
Right.
Okay, let them talk. It is my job to get people on the record speaking about the things that are inside their brain. We crack it open like a cantaloupe or a coconut, rather, and their thoughts spill out to the audience. That's my job as an interviewer, Blake.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I'm agreeing with your perspective because we had a chat. It's so silly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of lunatic fringe I do want to interview too, just to hear, is this person for real? Do they actually believe this? I'm curious about some of these opinions out there. Brian, I don't know if did you catch any of the part of the interview with Tim Pool? He had Donnie Darkened on there. He's this wacko. He's always commenting on every Elon Musk post or whatever. He's like, he thinks Donald Trump is going to be the Antichrist. And then he went on Tim Pool's show.
So Trump is the Antichrist, not Obama. That's rich. Okay.
Well, yeah, I think
we had 4 years of Trump, a thriving economy. We had peace in the Middle East with the Abraham Accords. Putin was under control. Everything was kind of awesome until China unleashed a virus. Yeah, but he's the Antichrist. Okay, the guy's clearly a nut job. I've never heard of him before.
Oh yeah, no, he looks crazy, but he's he sounds smart and he's a good writer and he has all these weird theories about how Donald Trump is going to be setting up the stage for the Antichrist and it's going to be the new awakening and then that's when Lucifer takes over. So it's weird. So we're either fucked with the globalists or we defeat them, but then the new age awakening is going to lead to Lucifer's grand plan. And then Donald Trump is going to be the ultimate bad guy. It's what the fuck? But I mean, he, is interesting because I do want to hear him, but then he didn't actually show up in studio as himself. He talked through this really creepy avatar that he has on his channel. So it was so bizarre.
No,
But
I don't watch Tim Pool. He was pretty cold to me when I met him in person. I didn't watch his show anyway. He's never really been on my radar other than when Google and those people and with Rogan. Like, I watched that episode. I've watched a couple, but I don't traditionally end up catching his stuff.
Yeah, no, I do once in a while when it says something interesting. It just all depends, but that's one of those guys that's on my radar because he's so unusual. But I don't think I was going to cover that earlier, but then I decided to remove it, and now his name gets brought up. But it's probably a story for another day.
Donnie Darko. Okay.
Donnie Darkened is his name. I'll have
Whatever.
to find it. Yeah, I know. It's
So, I mean, obviously, was it a planned ritual? I mean, that's a weird way to say. By the way, you want to get even weirder? What the name Lucifer means? A light bringer. What is light? Light is knowledge. The garden of good and evil. It's like the snake. It's like, here, do you want to know about things? Well, yeah, I'd like to know about things. Ha ha, you're evil. You told these people about things. I'm sorry. I'm trying to understand this here. So, okay, so which God is the good God? The one that wants me to know things, or the one that wants me to blindly, obediently worship? Oh, God, it gets so confusing. How dare you want knowledge from the tree of life? No, just be a happy little slave harvesting gold down there in South Africa, please. No, but the one that gave you knowledge is a snake. Lucifer, the light bringer, the knowledge bringer. It's like, oh, God, this is way more confusing than I was taught growing up in vacation Bible school. It gets a little wonky.
Oh, yes. It's like, what the hell is our purpose here, Brian? I don't get it. It's just psyops on top of psyops on top of psyops. And I just don't know anymore. So, but then I'm supposed to believe this. Yeah. Something like that. So here we go. Here's this guy. Well, might as well cover it now that I can find it. Here's Donnie Darkened and his creepy avatar. So he goes, Elon Musk, Alex Jones, Tate, and other influential individuals went onto a Twitter space to speak up against the World Economic Forum, suspiciously transparent global tyrannical threat. Elon Musk touted that this Neuralink will make the blind see and will also work telepathically. So he's kind of make this case with either it's Elon Musk or Donald Trump that are it's the Antichrist. He's also openly suggesting the technology will perform great signs and wonders upon the earth. To the undiscerned masses, it sounds heaven sent. The princes of this world are finally doing something about the corrupt system at large. But it's something more mischievous that's been planned from the beginning. And it's like I've been saying, the pendulum will swing and the false light alliance will rise up to liberate humanity through a great awakening. And the false light awakening and its implications have been promoted by the likes of occultists and the ascended masters, spirit guides that have channeled for centuries. It's part of a new age spirituality, and it's the main goal of occult initiation. Coming out of Plato's cave, awakening to the light of the sun. And I don't know, this guy, he's like he's smart, he makes sense. And there's, things that are like, oh, okay, well, maybe this makes sense. But then it's just this whole like crazy conspiracy theory if you're willing to go down that rabbit hole. Let's check it. He was on Tim Pool. And here's what he does. He shows up talking behind this creepy avatar.
You got a video of that?
Oh, yeah.
It will also be the last lie, and it will be a play on this false light deception. And right now, very interesting seeing everything happening. We see right now so many different crises unfolding upon not only America, but the world. And it almost seems like when Trump left office, everything went extremely downhill with the coming of the Biden administration and just the complete blatant corruption and incompetence of his administration and the current system.
I mean, this is like, wow, we're like living in a real life Black Mirror episode. So it's curious to get these, different sets of opinions out there, but there are some just wackos out there. And I don't know.
And by the way, let me just add, he something that guy just said there was, or something that robot just said was the incompetence of the Biden administration. I used to ask this question often when the New American Media began back in 2013, I think.
Yeah.
2011, whenever the hell it was. Is it incompetence or is it malevolence from Barack Hussein Obama? Incompetence or malevolence? And I couldn't quite figure. I had some days where I thought one way, other days I thought that no. It is malevolence. This is all planned everywhere. Now, let me. That's it. That's the only point I'm going to make. I just took issue with what this guy just said that there's incompetence everywhere. No. You know how much more successful Barack Hussein Obama has been over the past 3 years, that he has this child sniffing meat puppet, this corruptocrat, that he gets to move the ventriloquist puppet strings and dances his arms and legs and moves his mouth. God knows what they have up there wearing that human skin costume. When you see all those pictures, who you're actually looking at, a fake president on a fake set and with a fake face on. I'm kind of kidding about some of that, or maybe I'm not, or all of that. I'll leave that to the listener to determine, because I'm an entertainer, like Alex Jones said. Oh, I don't believe all the things I say. I'm an entertainer. He said that in his deposition
Performance
with his
artist,
wife.
right?
But we are performance artists. If we're not interesting, why are you going to listen to us? If we don't crack jokes and push barriers and say things that we don't think, and we play devil's advocate, maybe let me talk for me instead of talking for you, Blake. That's been a theme. Because in that Facebook group, we were having a discussion about Israel, and Larry the trucker was in there. And I tried to sum something up, and I said, let Blake speak for Blake. I don't want to talk for Blake. But we've been having this discussion. I would love for Blake to chime in. But let me talk for me. Like, we are kind of performance artists. I will sometimes, in order to understand the issue, I'm playing tennis against myself. I'm trying to understand the opposing arguments. Sometimes I don't know what I believe, and I'm just trying to hash it out with you. So anyway, it's but yeah, I don't think it's incompetence. It's absolute malevolence. This is a plan. But so anyone that thinks could possibly be the Antichrist is just
they know what they're doing.
Woefully educated or intentionally deceiving. I mean, it's clearly either Elon or Obama. If there's anyone, or Schwab. Schwab is like out of central casting as the bad guy in like a Dr. Evil movie with Mike Myers or something.
Oh yeah.
So it's either one of those three. Who would you say the Antichrist could be if you had to pick five? If you had to throw a few names into the...
I mean, I know it's weird. I'm not a religious guy. I'm not really into the whole Antichrist idea. But if there was one, to me, it was definitely Obama. He was the great deceiver. He was leading everyone. He was this great charismatic leader and created a whole cult following. And
Barry Soetoro.
Barry Soetoro, yes. He's completely made up. The son of Frank Marshall Davis. Yes. Allegedly, yes. So the communist Mark, yes, from Chicago, and he followed in his footsteps. So,
all right, Frankie, when you say I agree, you got to tell me what point do you agree on?
Yeah,
that I am a performance artist. You got to finish the thought. Okay, Jocelyn adds for the beginning of our conversation, two Elohim. Yeah, Enki and Enlil.
Well, they're supposed to be Anunnaki, aren't they? Or are Elohim and Anunnaki the same thing?
Look that one up real quick, Blake. I believe we're referencing the same stuff here. They divided the earth into two to harvest the gold. Enki was harsh and evil and made man into his slaves. Enlil, space god of air and harmony, was the good guy in Sumeria in the Old Testament. Yeah, I mean, that Old Testament, that is a vindictive, wrathful, give me your kid and butcher him on a hill to prove your love to me. It's like, this is an abusive relationship. Holy crap, this is like, this is gaslighting. This is mental abuse. This is trauma from beyond belief. Jocelyn continues, many poor translations from the original Bible consider it as a manual from Enki of how to live. It is a manual for mind to machine, mind control, and working for the man. Working for the man.
Yeah.
Head
Well,
for the mountains of Bush.
so
According to her late
Jocelyn.
mentor, Dolores Cannon. Oh, Dolores Cannon passed. I didn't remember that.
Oh, she was
Obama
old,
would be
yeah.
too old to be the Antichrist. Okay, so the Antichrist, according to Dolores Cannon, would be someone younger. Who's the worst young person on the stage right now? Could it be Zuckerberg?
Nick Fuentes.
He's bad.
Maybe Nick Fuentes, huh? He's the Antichrist because he's young and charismatic, and even Ye or whatever, Kanye West. Even he likes him. He was like his advisor. It's like, what? Really? You got some like weird 24-year-old neo-Nazi as your buddy over there? I don't know. So I don't know. It's pretty crazy stuff. I don't know. Pretend to have all the answers because the more I know, the less I know. Or Socrates, wisdom is knowing how little you know. There's some, but it's cool that Jocelyn, I'm curious to know more because I read some Dolores Cannon books, gosh, well over 10, 15 years ago. I really enjoyed them. I don't know how close you were to her. You're saying she's a mentor. I would be curious to know more about that. See, you'll get down some rabbit holes looking at her, some of her, the regressive, not regressive, the hypnotherapy
Past
that
life
she did.
regressions.
Yeah, and that was some fascinating information will come out of these.
Maybe we should go to the Conscious Life Expo again. It's been a while.
Oh yeah, it's coming up in a couple of months. Yeah, we'll have to maybe I'm not opposed to it.
When is that this year? Yeah, Conscious
Usually
Life
February every year, I think so.
February.
Let's see if we can get some tickets. See if we can get some media tickets at least. I don't want to press passes. Find out. Yeah, that'd be cool. We should definitely go. So
Looks like it's going to be at the Hilton.
Yeah,
and
it's always
it's
at
going
LAX, Hilton LAX, and I think every year.
February 9 through 12.
Okay.
9 through 12, it says.
It's always a cool
Yeah,
place. I'm down, even though it's a bit of a hike, but
I do miss living in Los Angeles a little bit. I liked that everything was so like close. So many things came to me, whether it was the NAMM show or the Conscious Life Expo or Politicon. It was just like everything. There is an energy vortex of Los Angeles. There's an energy vortex on certain places in Earth. And, just when everything's so crazy, when Barack Hussein Obama's media company is putting out "Don't Trust White People" movies. By the way, we're going to shut the power grid down and collapse society. It's like, yeah, I kind of don't want to live in Los Angeles. Thank you very much. I think that ship has sailed. But man, it was nice being out there with so many things working their way in.
Pros and cons.
It does. What did you pull up here, Blake? What's this?
Oh, this is still just from that Wacko Donnie Darko, but he was just referencing something about the fruit of knowledge or tree of knowledge. He's saying that this whole awakening is all about. It's about breaking free from the prison of the matrix and awakening to our true power. The red pill is the modern day fruit of the tree of knowledge, which is what propels this awakening. Humanity through this awakening will discover their true power, that they are gods. The world will become initiated into the occult mystery school by uniting under a global Christ consciousness. And that's when the evil tyranny of the harlot system is destroyed, and humanity will believe they have destroyed this beast kingdom. And where is Jesus? But we will be deceived. This is, this is a big grand plan from Lucifer. This is what he wants to happen. He wants us to destroy the globalists, be reawakened, and then that's the ultimate bad thing, and then we're going to turn away from Jesus. It's a lot of really crazy, rabbit hole stuff, and this guy is wacko. He wants us to believe him, but then he shows up in that creepy avatar on Tim Pool's show, and this could just be another psyop from the feds. So I don't know what to make of that, but I thought that was interesting. Speaking of, weird people. But let's get back to somebody that we all know and love, and who knows? Maybe he'll be at the Conscious Life Expo. David Icke.
By the way,
pay him.
Before you get to Ike, I just want to say the word occult doesn't mean evil. It just means obscured or hidden. When something is occulted, it's like in astrology. During an eclipse, there's a body that goes behind another body in the sky, and it's occulted. It's shadowed out by something in front of it. It's hidden. It's obscured. Hidden has a potentially nefarious connotation, but that's not really what the word means. It just means obstructed view. Buy a cheap seat to a baseball game at Wrigley Field, and you're gonna be sitting behind the pillar. I did that when Carlos Zambrano was on the hill when the Cubs and White Sox were both in first place. Got to go a game,
Nice.
and yeah, my seats were right behind a pole. So my view was occulted. It wasn't evil.
Yeah.
It was just blocked by something. That's all. So anyway, just wanted to add that for a little context to the people out there.
Yeah, no, I good call. Yes, occult is usually seen as something sinister. It's not. But now, getting back to speaking of sinister, David Icke thinks that this whole this new mammies thing is got some kind of a sinister agenda here. So the new mammies, mainstream alternative media people, with Musk is going to be at the summit, decreeing what is and treated as a god while fronting up companies SpaceX, Neuralink, Tesla that are essential to the cult agenda that the mammies claim to oppose. So where's the question of how someone could be officially the richest man in the world while opposing the cult, without whose support his business empire would collapse in a day? Elon, oh, thank you, sir. Where's the question about why governments that's supposed to hate Musk's free speech would go on to handing over the taxpayers' subsidies on which his empire depends? Where is the question of why the cult, through its deep state with controlled Twitter, what could be posted would suddenly sell it to the free speech absolutist Musk, who as a result has become the god of the very alternative media the cult needs to direct and control, so it goes here and no further? Where is the question about the occult significance of Musk's obsession with the letter X and his plan for X to become the new global app for everything? The real alternative media that is no here and no further is thus marginalized by comparison as planned, but we are still here and still pursuing the depths of truth where the mammies refuse to go. So cue abuse from the mammy believers, but they'll see, or maybe blinded by the light of the Elon God, they won't. And of course, it took a lot of criticism from Mark Dice and Paul Joseph Watson, who wrote a piece on him. Here's Cernovich, too. Why do the lizard people let you keep talking if you're such a threat? Yes, Mark, it's the easy cheap shot on Ike is to talk about the lizard people. Here's Donnie Darkin. He's always throwing his opinions up there. It's like I've been saying, the point of the false light great awakening is being brought about by design of spiritual forces. So Brian, I don't know. We don't trust anybody. It's just layers of psyops. You can't trust anybody. Even Alex Jones or David Icke or any of these people, they all seem to have an agenda. Who knows? Here is somebody who's not necessarily happy to see Alex Jones, but he's there to criticize. He's not saying he shouldn't be there. David Knight, former employee for over a decade, talking about Trump or Alex Jones, basically, being a grifter and going crazy with the Stop the Steal, laying the groundwork for it 2 days after the election with his potential CIA handler, Steve Pachenik, who went out and talked about, the blockchain quantum ballots. They're all watermarked, and that, all that, QAnon stuff. That, don't worry.
Why would the ballots not be marked? Like, in what world are the ballots not marked and trackable?
That's what you would think.
So that you can easily identify anything that's been photocopied.
So they should have been
in what universe are they not marked?
I guess they're not. So they're not watermarked. But he said they were.
That's absurd.
Huh? Well,
that's absurd.
I agree with you, but that's not what happened. And I did watch one of the main guys for that is Jovan Pulitzer, who was behind that big audit in Arizona, who did look at all of this stuff, who's into all the computer codes, the QR codes, and examined all of the ballots. But he said that's all bullshit. And it was basically, Steve Pachenik's big lie. about blockchain quantum ballots being watermarked that were going to, unravel the election. And that actually made it all the way up to Clarence Thomas's wife, who sent it to Mark Meadows asking if it was true. It wasn't. So I don't know if, I don't think Steve Pachenik's been back on the show again. But that was a big deal because, I listened to Alex for a long time and I always enjoyed Steve Pachenik, but it just turns out he's another, lying CIA spook. And so maybe he's also, he was in charge of getting Alex, like supposedly Pachenik maybe got David Knight fired for, opposing his bullshit. And it wasn't the first time. Like he'd also said BS about Sandy Hook and with the Las Vegas shooting that nobody died. So he really discredited himself, even though. And really,
did we talk with David Knight out at Bundy Ranch?
I don't know. When we were out there, it was really dark out because there's no street lights, and Bundy Ranch is way out in the middle of nowhere. It's outside of Mesquite's in Bunkerville, Nevada. So there's no lights. And I remember at one point, because we were out there doing interviews, and I remember a man saying like, hello. And I couldn't see where it was coming from. I didn't know who it was. I couldn't see the person. And so just like, as a general courtesy, I just, said hello. But then after the fact, I was like, I think that was David Knight because I recognized his voice. But I don't actually know. So I cannot confirm. But David Knight absolutely was there. And he did some of the greatest journalism out there and caught that whole, big stand down at the end. The big, we missed it because it was at like, 8:30 in the morning. But that was when
that was wild.
Yeah, when Cliven Bundy was telling the sheriff to stand down. And there was that big standoff.
Who was that one guy? Dennis Michael Lynch? Was that his name? Dennis Michael Lynch? David Michael Lynch? Dennis Michael Lynch?
I forgot.
He was the one that was out there pleading with him to stop, like, don't do this. He was like in between the crowd. It was out of a movie, man. That was wild. That
was
part of me wishes I was there, but part of me is super glad I wasn't.
Yeah, that was an amazing experience to be a part of that and to be on the ground while that happened. A lot of those events.
Well, we try to go where things are happening and see what's happening. Which side do we take? I don't know. I don't know what's true. I'm going to talk to people and put them on the record. I'm going to talk to the Bundy family. I'm going to talk to Pete Santilli. Tell me what your story is. Oh, I can't believe you're endorsing. I'm not endorsing anybody. I'm just talking. I can't believe you believe what they did about that. I'm not believing anything. Well, why do you support? Who said I support? I'm there to find out what's going on because I don't believe secondhand sources anymore. That's the new American media, literally going to the place and trying to find out what's happening. But I guess since today's episode is pretty much all about InfoWars, somebody who's not paying us. So, I mean, we should move on to other topics. But it's a big day for InfoWars, obviously, because he was just on Tucker. And shockingly, he's on Tucker, and then the coin is released, and then he's back on Twitter X. It's like, wow. Like, yes, they definitely had this all planned out. But that being said, Owen Schroyer got out of prison just now. You saw that today, right?
I knew it was coming. Well, I thought it was already happened or a couple days ago. I think he already did.
Well, maybe it was a couple days ago. But yeah, I just saw it today.
Yeah. So that's cool because that was another big thing. That was all part of that Stop the Steal rally, which David Knight was calling a huge grift from the get-go. And, maybe it was. And some of that alternative media, sometimes you got to make money. It's not easy. So I don't know. I don't know where I stand on this. But David Knight is also saying that Alex and Tucker have been close friends. They're both trust fund kids with extensive family connections to the CIA. Agent provocateurs come in many guises. So I don't know. David Knight is he's an honorable guy. I, tend to believe him. I don't think he would make anything up. But yeah, there's a lot of good and there's a lot of bad with Alex. So he's capable of both. He's woken up a lot of people, inspired a lot of people. I probably wouldn't be doing this without. I think one of the main reasons I started in the alt media and decided, hey, I'm going to get involved. I'll start a blog. I'll do something. Was part of it was when David Icke was on the Alex Jones show, and they were, calling for people to step up. Hey, we need other people to get in the arena. Start your own show, do your own blog, da 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 da. And I was like, yeah, maybe I could do that. So here I am, 12 years later. But now. So who knows? And now all of these guys are embroiled in the big controversy, and it just seems like I don't know whose side anybody's on and who to root for or what have you. But it's still exciting no matter what. So I'm glad to have Alex back, and I think we should have more of these conversations.
Maybe we'll see if we can get him on the show. I did reach out to Tucker's team to see if we can talk with him. But Jocelyn, she says here in the comments, X is the fallen cross, responding to your comment with Elon's, seeming obsession. But I mean, it's just branding also. Like it's SpaceX and it's the X app. Like, yeah, it's branding. Why would you want to name a million different things? Keep it simple, stupid. KISS. But Jocelyn says X is the is the cross fallen. Christ is not dead. He is coded into the human DNA. And it's interesting with the cross and Christ and talking about resurrection of InfoWars and Alex Jones right now. Could Alex be the Antichrist? Or according to Jocelyn, he's too old for that. It'd have to be someone younger, like really. I mean, by the way, a story that's not in our stack. Did you hear all of what's going on with Facebook and Instagram? Because part of what Elon's calling out is like, hey, Bob Iger, you're calling for a boycott of X because of blah, blah, blah. But you're going to advertise on meta platforms that are engaged in all sorts of stuff. Like, I don't know if you've been following I guess we can't even talk about the pizza story, but holy shit. Just like we knew from the beginning, it wasn't fake.
No,
they are using code words over and over, and they are getting busted. It's in court documents. It's evidence that's used against them. It's obvious, and the people that are participating in it, allowing it, and trying to silence people talking about it, they are definitely up to their elbows in this stuff, Blake.
Yeah.
I don't know. All these stories are kind of converging here. It's getting a little weird, but Jocelyn continues, take up the cross. That means you have to follow your heart and the path that makes you happy. Blake, that's what you did when you decided to take up the cross and get involved in independent media. In the new
terrible
American
idea
media,
that was.
What's that?
What a terrible idea that was. Yes.
But like Jocelyn says, when you are happy, the world looks better. But look, we're trying to carry the cross a little bit, right? We're trying to share in the burden of this nonsense. No one person should be worshipped as the Messiah, be it an Alex Jones, be it a Elon Musk. Nobody's a Messiah. A Tucker Carlson. Yeah, everybody has a role to play. We all have. Maybe I'm the kicker on the team. Maybe I'm the right tackle. Not everybody gets to play quarterback or the star wide receiver, but maybe I play special teams. Maybe I'm the inside linebacker. Like, everybody has a position to play. We're doing something. Sometimes it feels like we're not, but I assure you we're doing something, Blake. And following your heart, that is important. Jocelyn adds, she met David Icke's ex-wife at Peter Gershon's 60th birthday party. She mistakenly picked up my wine glass. It was
what's weird about that is in 2003, that's actually when I met David Icke in Santa Clara. I went to go see that, and I was at a MUFON conference. I think that was like the cocktail party, and I bought David Icke a glass of Merlot. He was drinking Merlot, and everybody was like crowded around him, talking to him. And I was like, he was running low, and I was like, "Hey, David, can I get you another one?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." So I went and grabbed him a wine. That is a true story. Maybe he remembers me. I don't know. But
no, it's so weird when we have these moments. Like, you buy David Icke a glass of wine. I give John McAfee my lighter. Like, we're smoking cigarettes out on the balcony at his libertarian fundraising event. It's just like you end up in these little pockets of weirdness, and it's just like these little memories. I actually have it on camera. I was getting my camera set up. I didn't know. But I have it on camera. It's such a cool video. We're on a darkened patio in Bel Air, and it's like McAfee it's dark, and he flicks the bic, and it goes whoosh, and it's like this surreal video that you would have had to probably do 20 takes to get it right if you're shooting a movie. And it's just like this one oddball clip that I have for no apparent reason, but it's one of the coolest things. What is this? Jocelyn says she met Nick Pope by getting a pint for him. Now he's a friend. You know, I've been meaning to talk with Nick Pope. I had an awesome conversation with him at Contact in the Desert. That was the night after, because I remember I was hungover, man. I was partying with Giorgio Tsoukalos from Ancient Aliens.
Oh my God.
And I was talking with Nick Pope about Donald Trump. And I remember exactly where I was camping. I remember the bill. We were just kind of like in between. I had a great conversation with Nick Pope. I've always meant to cross paths with him again. But like I said, I haven't been booking guests for a while. I need to get back into that. Like, I like connecting.
It's probably the only way we're going to grow our channel, because YouTube and Twitter aren't doing us a whole lot of favors right now, but we'll see.
No, they're not. Spotify is slowly but surely, but also Rumble has been down for the past couple of days. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I guess it was because the January 6th was a committee. They were putting out some of the videos, surveillance videos from J6, and I think that's why it got attacked, allegedly. So,
to limit the reach of that is the accusation.
Yeah, I'll have to pull it up. I think it was another Paul Joseph Watson thing. It was on Zero Hedge. I'll have to.
Yeah, I don't know. Are there any new bombshells from this footage? I know they're blurring faces, allegedly, of the federal informants that were there dressed as Trump supporters to pretend that MAGA were the violent ones. Like, sorry, MAGA's not. They're not BLM. They're not Antifa. Now, of course, there were a lot of people there that were firmly convinced that the election was stolen from the person that won the election. But yeah, there were a lot of undercovers there. So I wonder in all
David
this
Knight was saying
footage coming out.
Big honey trap. So did Alex Jones deliberately grift and lead all of his followers into a big honey trap on J6, which even embroiled and got his protege Owen Schroyer arrested?
Well, as Ford Fisher from News to Share says, and I don't think this is
private information,
divulging any private information, but as he pointed out to us, it wasn't because Owen was there talking. It was because he had an outstanding. What was it?
Yeah,
he had a warrant.
He wasn't allowed to be on the grounds or speaking, or I forget exactly what it was, because he had been in D.C. before. I think it might have been when he called out Jerry Nadler in Congress or something, and so he was like, kind of restricted from what he could do. But then by going to the Stop the Steal rally and speaking, that they automatically had to do something.
So it was almost like he had a punishment that was deferred or something for good behavior. Like, if you don't do these things, then you'll be fine after X amount of years or X amount of months. You can't be on the Capitol grounds doing this or that, and so like almost like he was paroled early, like they didn't. And then like when he went and did it again, they're like, "Hey, idiot, like come on."
Yeah.
So they put him in for a few weeks and now he's out. And
he's there for 60 days or something. I mean, I don't, it can't be fun. Nobody wants to go even for 60 days, but at least, yeah, it could have been a lot worse. So,
but yeah, just there's a backstory to it, and it's not just he got jailed for talking. He was also found guilty of a previous incident, and he
like if you
went ahead
violated
and did
parole
it anyway
or something, and then on a minor offense.
The terms of a plea agreement, whatever the exact terminology is, I forget exactly how it's phrased, but something along those lines. But what does PJW say here? Rumble was hit with unprecedented cyber attack after posting J6 security cam footage. Wow.
Yeah, as revealed, GOP-controlled Committee on House Administration Subcommittee on Oversight had created a new Rumble channel to post hours of security footage from the Capitol Police for J6. The first few videos were posted to the Rumble channel on December 5th. By the next day, the collection grew to 135 clips, each about 10 minutes long. Channel had nearly 700 followers, according to the Epic Times. but it perhaps upset some people shortly after Rumble was hit by a massive and seemingly organized attack that left people unable to upload or watch content. Yeah, you couldn't even visit the platform. It was just down. So the Rumble CEO, Chris Pavlovsky, posted, "I can confirm that this attack has been unprecedented and has been happening since this weekend. I also suspect it's political, coming from activists and or organizations who want to censor our creators and related to J6 videos being posted there." So, but they are back. So there you go. Thanks, everybody, for your patience, and they are back stronger than ever.
Well, that's good because we had our biggest day on Rumble recently. You know, it's a slow process building a channel out, and obviously it gets, hey, we one-upped our best day. Looks like we did it again. Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's a slow burn, man, having to kind of keep finding brand new platforms when Facebook just deletes your channel with no rhyme or reason, and YouTube demonetizes your content, and Instagram throttles your stuff and throws you down in the algorithm so nobody can see what you're doing. Yeah, I mean it's a battle, dude. It's pretty ridiculous. It's like every referee on the field is like they're in on it. They're all bought by Vegas, and it's like, yeah, good luck scoring points against a referee crew that has their own mortgage money riding on the game. They're not going to let you compete on a fair playing field at all. That's exactly what it's all about. And so it's like the people that do succeed, you know, and I'm not calling anyone in particular out. It's just anyone that's successful. Look at the top 30 names in independent media. Oh, Blake, stream of consciousness. Give me 30 names that are at the top of independent media. Or just rattle a bunch off. Like, let me hear some.
Like Alex Jones and David Icke, or how about Crowder, Tim Pool? Gosh, I should know some more. Why am I drawing a blank? We Are Changed, Luke Radowski.
Right, Luke. Shapiro, Daily Wire.
Okay, yeah, Daily Wire guys. Glenn Beck and all of his people.
Okay, yeah, The Blaze. Some
other Gateway Pundit, maybe? I don't know. There's the guy like Liza Schaefer. Who else is out there?
Well, Tucker, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are some of the other bigger ones? But it's just like you just kind of wonder, like, how are some of these accounts allowed to be big? Like, how do they break through? Or are they controlled opposition allowed to be big? You know,
yeah, that may be
so damn good. Wouldn't we be big already? It's like maybe not. I don't know. But like, how do they get past the gatekeepers? How are they allowed to keep their platform and their channel and their monetization? How?
That's one of the things I was saying about Alex Jones, was that maybe he got that channel because he is controlled opposition. There was Bill Cooper. He scared the shit out of the establishment. He totally predicted 9/11. And then all of a sudden, Steve Pieczenik, maybe his handler, said, hey, we're going to make you the star. We're going to take out Cooper. Alex Jones is going to be the guy. And then now he's taking credit for predicting 9/11. Well, I'm not sure if he's saying, you know, I'm the guy who predicted 9/11. I think that was Tucker saying that, so I don't want to.
Yeah, and Tucker said it, and he just said, I was researching it, and maybe he researched Bill Cooper. It would have been nice if he would have said his name, I think.
No, that's never going to happen. And Bill Cooper did not like Alex Jones, so I don't expect Alex to mention him either.
Yeah, but fair is fair.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, you just kind of wonder.
Other people said this before me too, so I wasn't the only one. But Alex Jones, he's done so many things, so there's all kinds of credit to go around for him. But yeah, he can give out a little on some of these, and Bill Cooper was definitely first on 9/11, and some other.
All right, let's do this. Let's run a stinger here, Blake, and jump in. We got a few more stories to cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we will continue. There's a lot of important stories other than just, you know, I don't like getting too in the weeds when it's like Steven Crowder versus Ben Shapiro, or it's Candace Owens versus it's like lunchroom drama from 7th grade. It's important because these are big media personalities and they run big channels.
We didn't even get into all the other weirdos that are out there. Some of the people that are like huge and have huge channels, and I kind of, you know, suspicious of. people, that are the QAnons, or even X22, Dave, or 107, or Wayne Willett, Phil Godlewski, Charlie Ward, the Simon Parks. You got Cliff High,
I don't
you
know
got
who any of
Eric
these people are.
Johnson, who's SG Anon. There's some of these people that have just huge audience. Huge.
Other than
Yeah.
X22, I have no idea who any of those are.
Carrie,
do we know who Dave is, by the
David
way?
Nino Rodriguez. Sorry.
Do we know who Dave is? Is he identified? Is
No,
he known?
never.
Oh, that's
Dave of
ridiculous.
X22. Yeah,
Talk about a
people
psyop.
have met him, but I don't know, much about him. I don't know his bio.
No, I don't even know his last name. I think he said he's from Florida, but I don't know. I have no idea who that is. If that's not, maybe he's on the Trump payroll and that's the Trump channel. Who knows? But there's a lot of weird names out there. Jocelyn saying that 9/11 was also predicted for others, like Cliff High's web bots seen by the remote viewers. Yeah, man.
He's an interesting character, but he's definitely out there. Some of his predictions have come true, some have not, but he is an interesting character. I do keep tabs on him.
Well, we talk about predictive programming and web bots seeing things and remote viewing, and yeah, that Obama movie is creepy. It's racist and creepy, and the fact that he chose it and was purported to be highly involved with it. I mean, I say this how many times, Blake, before this movie was even in the zeitgeist of our modern pop culture marketplace of understanding that it was even out there. I've been telling everybody to get ready in case the grid goes down, because I really feel like it's coming. I don't know when, but it just feels creepy as hell. So anyway, Jocelyn said she met Dave.
How credible would you say he was on a scale of 1 to 10? I mean, I've always enjoyed listening to the X22. I don't do it anymore because I'm kind of like, I just don't trust any more of these. They had their chance. I wanted to believe them, but nothing has happened, and I'm starting to wonder if some of this was all a grift. Even in some of it was in good faith, but a lot of these people have, enriched themselves and built up huge followings on just total BS. So
by the way, speaking of grift, Hunter Biden's been indicted a bunch of times. We'll see if that turns into anything. That could have been a #1 story. We just haven't even got to it. Jocelyn adds, many alternative media have been demonetized and their followers dropped. Yeah, welcome to the club. Not that our followers have dropped. Well, I mean, we have,
they won't allow us to grow at all. You cannot.
We are
not suggested.
Glass
It's
ceiling.
not there. You can't find it.
We're like a woman in the workforce in 1971. We hit that glass ceiling. We're there, but we're there for window dressing. Good luck advancing through that corporate ladder. We're stuck. The only time we're allowed on a corporate ladder is when they want to look up our skirt, is what it feels like. Damn patriarchy. Anyway, I digress. Malarkey. Okay, let's jump into some other topics today.
All right.
All right, Blake, did you see? Are those bullet holes or rust?
I'll probably go with rust. I don't know if they would put bullet holes on there. Not on that template, but you never know.
It looks like a couple of those could be bullet holes. That you'll have to watch it again afterward. But anyway, I digress. Okay, agree or disagree that the freedom to access alternative media, like you said, it's ma'am.
It's a mammy.
Freedom to access alternative media threatens democracy. Agree or disagree?
I am going to disagree. This comes from somebody who is terrified of alternative media.
Ooh, should I guess?
You want to guess? Go for it.
Give me. Let me have 5 questions to narrow it down. Okay. Freedom to access alternative media threat. Is this person a politician or former politician or aspiring politician?
Yes.
Okay, I think I know who it is already. Is it a lady?
No.
Oh, okay. I had Hillary in mind. 3 more questions. It's a man. It's ma'am.
Yep.
It's a man. Now you're a man. A man. Okay, so it's a guy, a politician. Freedom to access alternate. Is it? Oh boy. Wow. Is it? Well, I don't want to guess. Freedom to access alternative media threatens democracy. Is this person in Congress?
No.
Is this person Joe Biden?
No.
Oh, I got one guess left.
Yep.
Shit. Someone in politics, so it's a doofy Democrat. Freedom to access alternative media threatens democracy.
I will say that Democrat. I'll give you that. Yeah.
Is it Adam Schiff?
No. Adam Schiff's sitting in Congress.
Oh wait, I'm sorry, I messed that up.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question, one more guess. Then that was my bad.
Yep.
So he's in government, but he's not in
No
Congress, or he's a
longer
politician.
No longer a politician, but was.
Oh, this sounds like a Romney.
No, yeah, Romney's stepping down, but it's not.
Okay, I give up.
All right.
Oh, McCarthy.
No, you were close with Clinton.
Well, he's in Congress
They
too.
both,
I give up.
inhabited
I suck
the
at
White
this
House at one point.
I suck at this game. I just
Inhabited
did.
the White House at one point with Hillary Clinton.
Bill Clinton?
Nope.
Al Gore?
Yes, there you go. Very good.
I thought of Al Gore in the beginning. Like, I thought of him
your
as my
instincts,
first guess,
Brian. You didn't.
but I said,
Yep.
no, you're right. I should have trusted my instincts. What was that? Bearing my cross? I should have trusted my instinct. Like 3:11 says, you've got to trust your instinct and let go of regret. You've got to bet on yourself now, Star, because that's your best bet. Watch me now. We're gonna out on a like I want to funky child that gets us known for the show.
Yep.
And we'll mix the hip hop reggae because we say it is so. F the naysayers as they don't mean a thing. This is what we bring.
Yeah,
but I thought Al Gore's so irrelevant it couldn't be him. What is he coming back for? What role does he have to play in this mess?
Oh, he's the king of the climate cult. So Al Gore says people having access to non-mainstream information threatens democracy.
By the way, their information is not mainstream. It's fringe, and it's deliberately deceptive. So I'm retiring the word mainstream. They are lying legacy media. They are not. There's nothing mainstream about them. They are known liars, and the people that listen to them are fools.
Yep. So someday when people are arguing 20 years from now, they're going to say Brian Engelman was the first person to say, no, this is how legacy media. Right. All right.
I've been saying it for a long time.
Yep.
I don't know where phrases come from, but I've been saying it for as long. Can you remember a time I haven't been saying this? I'm very deliberate.
Well, I believe it. I don't care. I'm not going to fight you on it. Yeah, we're good. Let you have it.
I didn't claim I invented it. I'm just saying.
No, it wasn't Brian. It was me. I predicted it. All right, but anyway,
it was Bill Cooper. No, it was Alex Jones. No, it was okay.
No, they killed Bill Cooper. It was a conspiracy with Steve Pachenik and Alex Jones. They were going to use his weaponized narcissism to be the new king of conspiracy theories, a controlled opposition with the CIA.
That's another phrase I don't use anymore. I don't use the term insurrection because anybody, well, for obvious reasons. I mock to their face anybody that uses that term insurrection. I said, you're telling me hundreds of thousands of Trump supporters descended on DC with a grudge and not a single shot was fired? You're out of your damn mind. Stop using that word. And anybody that uses the term conspiracy theorist, I mock them immediately and say, I really, as a general rule, I don't engage with people that say stuff like that because that's such a weird phrase. I know what you're doing by trying to use it. And I will not engage with you or give you the time of day. You're not a serious person if you're going to try to give me that
not a
type
good faith
of
argument.
drivel.
Right.
Not a good faith argument.
Not anymore. Yeah, not after they've been exposed lying so many times. So it's over.
Yes.
They've discredited themselves. But, there's a lot of alternative media people that have also discredited themselves. So I don't know who's there's not a lot of voices to trust, but there are out there. You just kind of got to dig through and find several people and several perspectives and try to read between the lines and come up with your best solution. I don't know if anybody knows. So, but anyway, it's definitely not Al Gore, who's, gone off the rails, and he's freaking out because all of his predictions have not come true. We should be underwater by now, according to Al Gore. The ice cap should have already melted by now. Meanwhile, he's got his oceanside mansion. But yeah, he's afraid.
And that's interesting because we drift further away from the sun every year, right? The moon moves further away from the Earth every year.
I don't know if that's true.
No, I know that the moon moves away from the Earth a little bit more every year.
Really? Okay.
And I think, oh geez, now I'm hoping I have this right, but my understanding is that we are moving away from the sun. Now I got to double check that. I'm actually seriously
Our magnetic
questioning
field is weakening a little by little, perhaps, and we're setting ourselves up for another solar micronova in the cycle. I don't know, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know about that, but I have no idea. I could be right. So does that mean like eventually the moon's just going to snap out of its gravitational pull or whatever?
Yeah, it'll get caught up in something else. But my Jamie, could you pull up? Does the Earth move? Okay, right. My quick research here says the strength of an object's gravitational pull is proportional to how much mass it has. Because the sun is losing mass, its pull on Earth is weakening, leading our planet to drift away from our star by about 2.36 inches per year. So 6 centimeters per year.
All right. Well, is that going to? That's going to take like thousands of years to actually have an.
Yeah, but on a long enough timeline, I mean, right. Global warming will be global cooling. Like that's what's headed for us, and it's not determined by whoever got addicted to this carbon conversation is just so ridiculous and disingenuous. The thing that comes out of our mouth is a toxin, so you obviously must intifada all these people that are talking. Just do a nice extermination here because we got an infestation of carbon breathers. These people are lunatics, and they're grifters beyond belief.
Yeah, and they don't want you looking at any alternative viewpoints or calling them grifters. So they're freaking out right now, and they want to shut down the alternative media so that they can control reality. And I'm sure that was a lot easier in the 90s when Gore was very prominent as the VP of Clinton. Only had a good run at president. Came very, very close.
By the way, let me add. I've told this story before, but one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Lifetime. It was immediately following or on the day of the election, actually. I was on campus writing for my school newspaper, and the conversation I overheard two girls having. Did you go vote? Oh, I went to voted. Oh, that's cool. Who'd you vote for? I voted for Al Gore because he's cute. She voted for Al Gore because he's cute.
It's a good argument to raise the voting age. Yeah, it should be like 25.
One of the 10 dumbest things I've ever heard in my entire life. It will never get out of my head. I just overheard the conversation, and it still harms my soul to this day. Anyway.
All right. Well, gosh, I don't even know if I could do that one over as Bush and Cheney were so bad, but I wonder if things could have been just as bad with Gore. I don't know. Our country would have been pulled into this climate cultism a lot sooner. But none of his predictions have come true, and he's still grandstanding up there. But nobody's listening, and that makes him sad. So he'd prefer if you would stop finding alternative sources like us who are going to call him out for his terrible predictions. Now he says there's also a mental health crisis around the world because we're not solving the climate crisis. So that's that would explain it. I know that there's people are losing their shit out there. Some people think that it might be a climate crisis. It's the magnetic field weakening, and there's too many additional solar rays that are like baking our brains. I don't know. Not going to go down that rabbit hole right now either. But story for another day. Well,
I think it's the solar flares that ultimately determine spikes in temperature. If there's an elevated situation where temperatures do rise, it's because of solar flares and sun activity, solar spot, solar flare activity.
And a full moon.
It's not because humans are breathing.
Right.
Or what?
And maybe the full moon making people a little nutty. We don't know exactly how all of this, space energy affects us, and it could play a bigger role than we think.
Well, there's a lot of occult study of this topic. All you got to do is look around. There's a lot of people that swear by it, that we move in circles and cycles.
Yep.
I don't know, man.
12,
I don't know,
13,000 years. Yeah. We go through the big reset again. So it looks like it might be coming in the next 20 or 30 years. We shall see.
It's coming around again.
Maybe the Elohim will
it
save us.
comes unannounced. And
Right.
it feels like trading brains with an imbecile. For real. Yes. I love that song.
All right.
Okay. Al Gore, anything else on Al Gore and his mental health
I think
crisis
that's
around the
enough.
world?
We're already deep into this show, and we still have quite a slate of topics to go through. So that's it. We'll move on.
Next. Jocelyn, of course, saying that she is a conspiracy factist. Yes, that's a good phrase, a conspiracy factist. But it sounds a little bit like fascist, so maybe we got to tweak that a little bit. But I like where your head's at. Blake, agree or disagree? This really could have been our number one story because, in the grand scheme of things, who gives a shit about any one particular alternative media voice? Yes, they're important. Yes, blah blah blah. But this is something that really gets into our daily life and our world and the importance of these stories. This really should have been number one. Either this or drinking gallons of Bud Light, probably. But Blake, agree or disagree? We should extend and expand warrantless wiretaps on citizens. Agree or disagree?
No, I disagree. Unless I don't know. It depends on the citizen. Not native citizens of the United States of America should not be subject to these things unless they are, I don't know, it really involved in some seriously shady stuff, and it needs to be taken a close look at. But the problem is that the government's going to expand it and abuse their authority, and they're going to try to just wrap everybody up. That would be their ultimate goal, would just be the total Orwellian surveillance system. That's what they wanted. That was part of the Bush-Cheney administration and the Patriot Act. Then it was expanded under Obama. And they're bringing it back with a vengeance now again under Biden. So let's find an article about this. Let me pull one up. And it's the experts are back. The experts that supposedly discredited the Hunter Biden laptop are back to extend warrantless spying on Americans. There you go, is James Clapper there. So the same the guys that penned the infamous Hunter Biden laptop letter in October 2020 now calling on lawmakers to reauthorize the warrantless surveillance state through the NDAA. On Monday, 46 former national security officials signed a letter urging to rubber stamp the reauthorization of Section 702 of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. Same law was abused by deep state FBI agents to surveil members of Trump's campaign. Yeah, it's just the loosely. Oh well, maybe certain people spoke to Russians at some point, so we have to monitor everybody within the Trump organization to find out. But yes, that was a obvious abuse of power to spy on his campaign. The more than 36 former national security officials who signed the letter invoked the fentanyl crisis and overseas turmoil to make their case for the unconstitutional surveillance. Yeah, it's always under the guise of trying to make us safer. It's a great idea because, we're going to solve this fentanyl crisis. But it's not. It's abused. So as you...
won't somebody think of the children, Blake? Won't somebody think of the children?
Yeah. Exactly. So Glenn Greenwald calling it out. Many of the former security officials who caused the U.S. media to widely spread the lie that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation are now warning that we'll all be endangered if we don't renew the NSA FBI warrantless spying on Americans. And here's straight from the mouthpiece of the Pentagon, Jennifer Griffin, promoting this whole thing with FISA 702 legislation needed to fight terrorism and fentanyl traffickers and cyber attacks. See, it's all for a good cause. We cannot hamstring the U.S. intelligence community. Well, I would disagree with that. So it's the deep state trying to spy on everybody. And this will be used against us. It's everything that Orwell warned us about, or Eisenhower, or many other patriots from the past, like Bill Cooper. So anyway, yeah, that's happening right now. So it actually expands surveillance in critical respects, effectively rewarding the FBI for years of misconduct and thus encouraging even more flagrant abuse in the future. Which I would agree. The FBI and many of these agencies have been weaponized against Trump supporters and classic Americana patriots who should not be wrapped up in any of this Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act. That's for, people who are suspected of being foreign spies. Anyway, so I think that's all I have on that particular one, Brian. Is there anything you'd like to add?
No, I did think of something when you were talking about using it on citizens. And I don't know why this popped into my head, but it did, because I'm a child and I have a cartoon brain. I'm just kind of hardwired to be this way.
It's got a Simpsons reference for us, Brian? Or...
Yes, of course it is. So let me pull this one up.
All right, everybody, drink.
Here we go.
Brian's making a Simpsons reference.
I did have the nickname of Captain Rewind. That was a nickname given to me back in college because I would always rewind the funniest jokes and I'd play them over and over. But this is one where Apu becomes a citizen, because you're talking about American citizens, and I just instantly.
Are you running? Oh, sorry, I wasn't running, Brian. Run it again.
Oh, it didn't play?
No, it wasn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's okay. Did you pulled it up now?
Yep. We're going to get the copyright strike now. Nope. All of our billions of views, we're not going to get any money off of it.
Well, as long as we stop it every few seconds.
Thank you. I want to say thank you to everyone. From this day forth, I am no longer an Indian. I am an Indian American.
You know what, Pooh? In a way, all Americans are immigrants, except Native Americans.
Yeah, Native Americans like us.
I mean American Indians.
Me?
No, I mean...
Hi, everyone.
Just that little part. It's one of the best written lines, like this little confusing back and forth. I love it so much.
Pooh? In a way, all Americans are immigrants, except Native Americans.
Yeah, Native Americans like us.
No, I mean American Indians.
Like me?
No, I mean...
Hi, everyone.
Oh, come on. You have to appreciate how hilarious that is. I mean, that's perfect writing. Native Americans like us. No, I mean American Indians. Yes, like me. No, not that India. So good. Jocelyn says, on August 25, we lost internet sovereignty when the rules of the European Union's Digital Services Act, DSA, were adopted by large platforms like Facebook, Amazon, Google. That's disconcerting. What if Elon and his Starlink can give us real internet and we can opt out of this Facebook, Amazon, Google crap? But the more addicted we are to Elon, the more control he'll have over our lives.
Right.
By the way, did you notice that X put Grok on there now? Have you tried it?
No, I'm seriously considering signing up for it. I think it's like another $8 a month or something. I think I'm paying $11 a month, and that's going to be as an extra charge to get the I'm a premium member.
I thought
Plus.
Oh, I thought that if you just paid to get your check mark, that was included.
No, it's like their highest level. So there's I forget. I think there's 3 levels, and I'm on like the mid tier. So it's like a $3 level, an $8 level, and then it adds like 3 plus 8 to 11, and then there's another charge for the premium plus, and then you get like limited access to Grok. So I am strongly.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if did you pull this one up here while we were. No, I don't think so. But Jocelyn
Nope.
says when Earth changes happen, they're immediate. How did Lake Titicaca get to be a saltwater lake at a high elevation? That is an awesome factoid. That is really nice. Now there could be some sort of natural, salt formations in that particular. But yeah, how did that happen? And if you go up into the mountain ranges in Arizona, there are fossilized evidence of it being completely underwater, and you're 8,000 feet above sea level. Jocelyn adds, what about mammoths who were found flash frozen with buttercups in their stomachs? Quick hit.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the polar shift. So you get to go check out Ben Davidson's Suspicious Observers channel, or you can watch even the Graham Hancock series on was that Netflix. They talk about some of these types of things. Yes, and it looks like the Earth is heading towards that. It's about every 12,000 years. There's the magnetic issue. The field weakens. There's the solar micronova. The Earth tilts about 90 degrees. And what we think of as an ice age might actually happen in a very short period of time. But then there's a whole
Netflix. Is that Barack Hussein Obama channel?
Yeah.
That Barack Obama network?
Perhaps.
By the way, I just got this on my phone. I got a Nikki Haley text.
Oh, that's nice. She's watching. She's a big fan. Hey, Nikki, what's up? Yeah.
It's Nikki Haley. Before you exit this, Brian, please take 30 seconds to read this important message. Wow. Thanks, Nikahondra Ramaswamy.
Yeah.
Haley Rama, whatever her name is. You got to use your real name online, but I'm not going to go by my real name. Okay, next topic. Here we go. All right, Blake, agree or disagree that Argentinian President Milei is actually a globalist in disguise? Agree or disagree?
You know what? Let's just go to agree. He's done some good things. He's an interesting character, but there's also there's good and there's bad. So why don't we pull that up and discuss?
Yeah, that was a chat in our private chat. It was kind of like, well, one of you guys was I was scrolling through it doing something else, but one of you guys were like, I agree with Anomaly on this. I didn't see his take on it, but I'm guessing he's saying that he's a globalist shill, perhaps.
I'm not 100% on that. So let's see. We're kind of looking at it as this new populist, but let me see if I can get one of these pulled up here.
Yeah, because he's got some links to the World Economic Forum. He meets with Zelensky right away and gives him a menorah, and you're like, God, there's a lot of imagery going on here. There's a lot of symbolism.
He's wearing his yarmulke and he's sucking up to the Zionist Jews. Yes.
Did you find the definition of Zionist yet?
Yeah,
I did ask if you could. Can you put it on screen? Let me see if.
All right.
Because last time it was just somebody that wants to keep the state of Israel the state of Israel.
Last time it was just.
It doesn't sound like a slur the way it feels every time it's brought up. Yeah, those Zionists, those dirty Zionists.
Okay, Zionist is not Judaism, so there's a difference. So while their Zionists are Jewish, not all Jewish people are Zionists. So there's definitely something to that. And last time we did Wikipedia, so this time I am pulling up Encyclopedia Britannica, which is extra special because I only get a limited amount of views on this website here. So Zionism is a Jewish nationalist movement that had its goal the creation and support of a Jewish national state in Palestine, the ancient homeland of the Jews. Though Zionism originated in Eastern and Central Europe, like I said, these are like Russian Jews, in the latter part of the 19th century, and in many ways a continuation of the ancient attachment of the Jews and of the Jewish religion to the historical region of Palestine. So there's also controversy of whether these people even have any actual ties to the Hebrews. So they might not actually do. They just, decided to take Judaism, and then they go, oh yeah, now we want our ancient homeland back, but they're not actually part of those bloodlines. I'm not 100%. But in 16th, 17th centuries, a number of messiahs came forward trying to persuade Jews to return to Palestine. There's a movement, 18th century. I know this.
I keep saying return to Palestine. Palestine was not a place. It was not a country.
Well, what was it after Israel? Well, what was it for 2,000 years after the Romans took it over? They changed the name.
It was part of Jordan, right? Like Palestine is not a place. This is an ongoing back and forth. But
yeah, well, people say that. It goes back and forth. And Israel wasn't a country, or Palestine wasn't a real country. No, it was called Palestine. Whether that was designed as an insult by the Romans or not, it was Palestine. And so there was British occupied Palestine. There was Palestine that was part of the Ottoman Empire. So whether it's however you want to claim it, or the original land was called Israel, I'm not getting into the semantics of all of that stuff. It's not that important to me. But the point is that, yes, these Eastern European, Russian Jews that have decided, hey, we want this land and we're going to go back into it. And then after the Holocaust, so a lot of people didn't like it. They're like, yeah, screw you guys. We don't like you guys. But then after the Holocaust, they felt sorry for them and said, okay, yeah, let's put you in this land. The United Nations decided, okay, we're going to have a agreement, and Israel's going to have this much, and Palestine says this much, and Israel's like, yeah, we want that. The Zionists said, yeah, that's great. We want to do that. And then Palestine never agreed to it. There was a civil war, and Israel won. And then they ended up taking like 80% of the land. And then over the 70 years have taken more and more and more land. And then just kind of squeezed.
They've actually given a lot of land back. That's not entirely accurate. They've given a lot of land back.
They have?
And they settled for a lot less land than they could have. So, I mean, there's a lot of misinformation.
I don't know if that's misinformation, Brian. You can look at the maps of the territory, West Bank or whatever. Gaza Strip,
and that's not
smaller.
That doesn't tell the accurate story.
Israel has gained more and more land over the year. They've never given up any more land, to my knowledge.
That is completely incorrect as well. But anyway, let's not get into.
Show me the source.
The finer
I want to see that, because that is not true. All right, but anyway, yes. So this is it. It's a political turn of Zionism. I won't get into all of this stuff. The failure of the Russian Revolution and the wave of pogroms and repressions that followed caused growing numbers of Russian Jewish youth to emigrate to Palestine, which was a country, Palestine, as pioneer settlers. And by 1914, there were 90,000 Jews in Palestine, not Israel. 13,000 settlers lived in 43 Jewish agricultural settlements, many of them supported by French Jewish philanthropist Baron Edmond de Rothschild. Yes, the Rothschild family. So upon this is out of Britannica. This is not out of some crazy conspiracy website. So upon the outbreak of World War I, political Zionism reasserted itself, and its leadership passed to Russian Jews living in England. Two such Zionists, I won't pronounce their names, instrumental obtaining the declaration from Great Britain, promising support for the creation of a Jewish national home in Palestine. And so that kind of led, because British occupied Palestine during those years before they turned it back into Israel.
And by the way, just since you asked, so Israeli provincial control over the Sinai Peninsula ended in 1982, following the implementation of the 1979 Egypt-Israel Peace Treaty. So that was 82, and following the 79 peace treaty, that saw Israel return the region to Egypt in exchange for the latter's recognition of Israel as a legitimate sovereign state. So that was given back in 79, 82. Okay. This concept that it's just a blob consuming more and more and more, it's completely incorrect.
Maybe they did give a little land 40 years ago, accurate. But then they've since taken that back. They have reduced their land mass. They've shown these videos of the maps of the regions that are occupied, and they keep shrinking. So they keep getting shoved into a smaller and smaller strip of land. I'm not saying it's right or was justified or what have you, but that is a fact that I can see, is that they've never made any gains of land. But maybe they did. I'll say maybe 40 years ago, perhaps. So I'll just say, hey, cool. Maybe they did. But it was short-lived. Anyway, so during the next 2 decades, Zionist organizations in many countries continued to raise financial support for Israel and encourage Jews to emigrate there. Most Jews, however, reject the view by some of the Orthodox Jews in Israel that the Jews outside Israel were living in exile and could live a full life only in Israel. So anyway, yeah, the large-scale extermination of European Jews by the Nazis led many Jews to seek refuge in Palestine and many others, especially in the United States, to embrace Zionism. So as tensions grew among Arabs and Zionists, Britain submitted to the Palestine problem and looked for a solution with the United Nations. And they proposed a partition of the country into separate Arab and Jewish states and the internationalization of Jerusalem. So anyway, yeah, but that it was agreed upon by Israel. They're like, cool. But the Palestinians were like, no, we don't like that deal. But it triggered they called it it's an invasion, and it was a war. And then Israel won, and then they took way more land. And then they kicked about 800,000 Arabs expelled from that area, and it became Israel. So anyway.
Yeah, I'm reading something that says Israel left Gaza in 2005, forcibly removing Israeli citizens so that Gazans could govern themselves. And the Palestinians have been offered statehood multiple times and have rejected it, I believe 7 times. I read through that.
That could be. I'm not 100% on anyone's side here. And for them, I understand there's bad. 800,000 people out of their homes.
All right, you're back.
Yeah. So when an enforcement takes over the land, it'd be like if you kicked you out of Louisville there, invaded and shoved you into a ghetto. Chances are you probably don't want to make deals going forward.
I mean, look, man, I moved into a ghetto and I made it better. These people dig up their water pipes and turn them into rocket
allegedly
launchers.
Yeah, maybe sometimes.
No, allegedly. That's widely known. And the Palestinians have been offered statehood over and over and over again, and they keep saying no because it's not exactly what they want. They refuse. It's the 3 no's. They're not going to recognize them, and they're never going to stop. I forget what the third one is. They're never going to stop fighting, and they will never agree to any peace deal. That's why, Yasser Arafat and all these Abraham, prior to the Abraham peace accords, they'd meet on the East Coast with George W. Bush or Bill Clinton. It's like they meet and they talk and they talk, and they never agree to anything. They don't want to cut the art of the deal. They don't want a deal. They only want them exterminated. They want them hell out of there.
I know that's one side. That's also propaganda. And that's you take a very 100% Israel is like never wrong, and you could never give.
I didn't. Did I just say that?
No.
I said that there's no deal they're willing to cut. They absolutely refuse. They don't want a 2-state solution. They will not accept a state there because they won't acknowledge Israel's right to exist. Like there's no side. That's stating the way that it is. That's why they can't find any common ground. That's why there's no give. That's why there's no deal to be cut, because they don't want it.
Yeah, that could be absolutely a part of it, and we'll just agree there. But like I said, it's it's somebody comes in, takes all your land, kicks you out, kills a bunch of people, and then they want to make a deal. You're kind of like, no, you hate your invaders, and so I understand.
All right. Well, like I said at the beginning of the show, though.
Yeah.
If you're going to allow that mentality to get an excuse, a free pass, if you will, maybe you're not saying it's okay to butcher 1,400 people, to behead them, to rape them, to set them on fire, to kill them, to videotape it, to take people hostage. If you're not saying it's okay to kill 1,400 people, I am kind of saying that if you're making, not you, but anyone kind of making allowances for, well, you got to understand where they're coming from, well, then you're kind of giving a sanction for constant warfare, which is bullshit. Under that philosophy, you're going to allow Mexico to fight people in Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, California. You're going to allow the French to come in and fight on American soil because of Louisiana. You want the Russians fighting Alaskans. At some point, we live where we live, stay the hell out and stay peaceful.
No, we'd have to see these deals.
Well, no, there's no ancient blood feud. Get out of here with your war.
It's an ancient blood feud.
It's never going to end. Nobody has a claim to anything permanently. It's like it all kind of moves around. But these ancient feuds, and it's like, we will fight and kill forever, and I want that back. No, you're not from there. My people are from. What do you mean your people? We can't do that as a civilized society, Blake. We just can't make excuses for it.
Well, we don't know the details of the deals either. So, who knows? They don't want the deals for me. They might have their reasons. And it's not just because, they'll just never accept something. Well, maybe they would if there's something that seems acceptable and the whole world says, hey, this seems like a pretty good deal. You should take this. I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if it's a great deal or not.
I do. The main sticking point is that Israel continuing to exist is part of the deal. There's no deal that works. They've turned down
that's what you've heard. Is that
offers.
Really a fact, or is that just is that Zionist propaganda that you're picking up from?
No, that's why there's no dispute about that, unless your main source is just some Palestinian girl that's only going to give you "I hate Israel" content.
Issue. There's a lot of people that I listen to, and a lot of people. And one of the things I'm noticing is that a lot of the people that I'm following on there are absolutely destroying the Zionists in their arguments on Twitter, whether it's the Syrian girl or Max Blumenthal or comedian Dave Smith.
That one with
comedian Dave Smith is absolutely been picking apart all of the Zionists. Ben Shapiro
I watched
getting
that
destroyed. Right.
Well, I mean, that's so interpretive. I watched a clip. Dave Smith destroys Laura Loomer.
Did.
I watched it. It was a 5-minute back and forth. She makes her point. He says, "Okay, that's interesting because blah 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 blah." Then she gives a response. Then I go, "There's no destruction here." I said, "Those were two arguments that both make sense. What she said makes sense. What he said makes sense."
Okay.
Oh, he destroyed her. They had a conversation, and I understand.
He's pinning her, and she can't acknowledge anything. She keeps trying to run out the clock. She won't directly answer. She keeps running circles around, and she keeps doing the same talking points. Like you accuse me of putting out these pro Hamas talking points or something like that. I was like, well, there's no freaking talking points. If anything, it's from the
there's absolute talking points.
I keep saying, "Oh, we have a right to exist. Oh, we have a right to defend ourselves." It's just the same stuff over and over again.
I mean, they're pretty compelling arguments. I think they do have a right to exist, and they have a right to defend themselves. That's not a bad argument in any way.
No, but now so they can justify a genocide with that.
I'm not going to that extreme. I'm just saying those are good arguments. I have a right to be here. Sure. I have a right to defend myself. That's not a bad argument. That's a great argument. That's like the core of the Constitution, the Second Amendment. I got a right to defend myself. But anyway, all of this stuff aside, is that all we had on President Milei? We kind of jumped to the Jewish stories.
There's not much to say about Milei. I'll just outside of he's gotten rid of a bunch of government ministries on his first day in office. That's cool to see. Get rid of a bloated federal government, but then you have he's signing into the Paris Accord, which is a climate change cult, which Trump rejected. So why is he doing this? Why is he showing up in a yarmulke? Yeah. Well,
is he Jewish then? Is that what's going on? Or is Zelensky?
Or I think maybe he's he's going to be a born again Jewish or something like that. But he seems to be, just making allies with the Zionists. Fine, whatever. But
is Zelensky a Jew? Did I miss that?
Yeah, Zelensky is too.
I vaguely recall that. One of the comments that I saw about Javier Milei joining the Paris Climate Accord. Was it called an accord?
Paris Climate Agreement. Because he was saying climate change is a socialist lie, but now all of a sudden he's on board with it. So
see that bothers me immensely. That's a huge red flag. The comment that I saw though was it's really bad for the United States because we were funding the whole damn thing. So of course we need to get out of that. But maybe there's really no skin in the game for him to participate. And it's all just benefit versus no cost. I don't know if that's true or not, but if he's calling it a big climate scam and then he joins it, that's really weird. And this is like week one. This is like day one type stuff. What's this article here from Paul Joseph Watson's Modernity? Sponsored by Moderna.
Yeah.
Modernity.
Yeah, so it's called Cut, New Argentinian President to Sign Paris Climate Agreement. After calling climate change a socialist lie, all of a sudden he's happy to sign the agreement. So even though this was supposed to be a big hoax. So very strange. And then, of course, we have this, and you put this on Telegram the other day, Brian. This is a very odd display. Javier Milei and Zelensky having a embracing and a big hug. Two old friends that haven't seen each other.
Maybe mute that, Blake. I don't know what the music is, number one, and two, it's a little distracting.
Okay.
All right, we're muting that.
And there he is with his, celebrating Hanukkah.
And he's got a staff.
They're
He's
going
got
to go
some
play
sort of
dreidel
walking
games,
stick.
right?
What'd you say, Blake?
So he's celebrating Hanukkah with his yarmulke, and they're going to play dreidel games. Which is good. It's all in good fun.
So much Hanukkah to celebrate Hanukkah.
Yeah.
Hanukkah is a celebration of lights. Instead of one day of presents, we have 8 crazy nights.
Yeah. So, anyways, has some weird allies, and he's joining the Paris Climate Agreement. So, who knows?
Some people
I'm
think
skeptical.
that Ebenezer Scrooge is. Well, he's not. But guess who is? All 3 Stooges.
Yeah.
Harry, Moe, and Curly.
Good stuff.
Okay. Well, look, he's making moves. Let's keep an eye on him. I'm deeply troubled by him calling it the climate change a scam and then joining the Paris Agreement. What's it called again? The
Paris Climate
Accord?
Change Accord Agreement, something.
Paris
right.
thing.
Yeah.
Paris problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he's a globalist in disguise coming up. Okay. Next topic real quick. Bud Light. If you're a patriot, we should be drinking gallons of Bud Light. Agree or disagree? Gallons. Liters of beer. Liters of beer. Literal liters of beer.
Not this guy.
Gallons.
But this is according to Dana White of the UFC.
So is this article going to talk about him being cucked?
Boy, another article from Modernity. Yeah, kind of, but not really, because I don't think he wants to piss off Dana White and all of the other UFC fighters, and calling him a cuck probably wouldn't go over well. But he says, if you're a patriot, Dana White, if you're a patriot, you should be drinking gallons of Bud Light. So
did I miss the part where they apologized? Because I haven't heard an apology from Anheuser-Busch about pushing this terribly dangerous gender confusion ideology that's worked its way into schools and medicine, that's causing very healthy kids to chop up their plumbing. If an adult wants to do something, hey, but this has gone into Target. You got to tuck your genitals and your swimsuit, and we want you to have gender affirming mutilation, and you can hide it from your parents. Like this is a dangerous, destructive ideology. When you turn 18, look,
come on, Brian, we're going way off into the weeds here. I gotcha.
But that's what the Bud Light thing is about.
Well,
people
yes,
are
it was
upset
Dylan
at them
Mulvaney
pushing
and
Dylan
using
Mulvaney on people.
Right.
I'm a woman. I've been a woman for 365 days. You're a dude. You cannot become something you're not. Why are you promoting this, Bud Light? You're making cans of it. That was the trial balloon. It was supposed to be a much bigger campaign. Did you know that? They actually had a bigger campaign planned. And wait, do you think I'm going too far with this? That's what this is about.
No, but we're going into way too much of the backstory, way too much into the transgender. It was just, is Dylan Mulvaney, yes, Bud Light thing. I'm trying to tighten things up because
but the commercial was day 365 of being a woman. Right. You can't become something you're not. Yeah, Bud Light was endorsing this, and it's causing problems.
Oh, they got a
in
right
the mind
backlash.
They're harming themselves.
Yeah.
They never apologized.
Yeah, exactly. They don't, because now they're afraid to say anything. But they're hemorrhaging sales. They've destroyed their brand, an unkillable brand of just dumbed down sports entertainment and funny commercials, which I love. I don't like Bud Light per se, but the commercials were some of the absolute best. Their marketing was second to none, and they destroyed it. They found a way to ruin it by getting Dylan Mulvaney, a confused boy prancing around like a girl. And yes, it was bad. There was backfired badly. And now, UFC president is now saying, it's patriotic, and it probably was. And maybe this was a bad marketing thing that went wrong. but I don't know if they can build. They can't build this back together again. And
I know they could. I've been to Anheuser-Busch St. Louis, Missouri. It is, yes, it's originally a German brand, and now they've sold to, was it InBev? Was that Dutch or Polish? I forget exactly.
Super American, yeah. I mean, I guess the people were German Americans. That's Anheuser.
But then it's sold to InBev, and so InBev owns it now, so it's not an American company per se. But but Budweiser is an American brand. It is Americana. There are so many jobs tied to this. All of the brewing facilities, all of the subsidiary brands, all of the truckers. Like, it is a massive brand, and I do get what Dana White is saying. If you're a patriot, like, you should. It is a great American company, even though not technically owned by Americans anymore. It's from a European. I forget who owns InBev. I'm gonna look it up.
I think it's South Africa.
Oh, South Africa. Okay, that might be true, actually. I get what he's saying, but where's the apology? Where is somebody from that company saying, look, we recognize that promoting this type of stuff causes damage to kids chopping up their plumbing? Like we want to be respectful to people, but we didn't.
They can't. They're afraid to be political now. Yeah, it's too late.
Well, then why would anyone ever go back to them without an apology?
No, I agree. Well, look, Dana White's just doing them a solid because they've been a sponsor from the UFC from the very beginning. He's made a ton of money making deals with them over the years, and now he's trying to help them out, which is pretty much.
By the way, AB InBev, it's so it's Anheuser-Busch, so it's AB InBev is the name of it now. I guess they just included Anheuser-Busch InBev. That's based in Leuven, Belgium. It's the largest brewer in the world, so it is Belgium. What did I say? Polish, or I was close.
Yeah,
Belgium.
I thought it was South Africa there for a while, but I guess not anymore. Or maybe they've changed it again.
Yeah, and it may have been sold before. It might have been with someone before InBev, but anyway. So you want to play the clip of Dana White talking with Tucker? Let's look at Tucker's surprised face.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, by the way, while you cue that up,
consider your
go ahead. Okay.
Oh, you want to clip it out now before I go, or what?
Yeah. You're okay.
Yourself a patriot, right? You're a patriot. You should be drinking gallons of Bud Light. Believe me when I tell you.
Wait! I should be boycotting Bud Light.
Gallons of Bud Light. You should have Bud Light drums stacked up in your garage and drinking it right out of the keg. They are way more aligned with you than most of these other beer companies are. That I guarantee you. Take it from somebody who's in the know, who does business with beer companies. You are way more aligned with Bud Light than you are with any other beer company.
I mean, they didn't come into partnership with you by accident.
No.
Oh, cringe.
We had multiple bidders on the table.
Did they seek you out?
We had multiple bidders on the table. They were one of them. And as history has shown me with relationships that I've had with other beer companies, I, who lean more this way, I, who consider myself a patriot, I don't go crazy over the whole patriot thing, but I consider myself a proud American. I'm happy to be an American. I love this country.
Crazy.
And you are way more aligned with Anheuser-Busch than you are with other beer companies.
All right. Well, I could agree with them, but the damage is already done. And like you said, Brian, they haven't apologized. And personally, I don't really care because I don't like their product anyway. I wouldn't drink it if it was. You could put a gallon in my fridge, and I would probably never drink it unless I had some kind of special occasion to. I just not good to me. But that's me. But it's a problem.
Well, what about this? Do you like Stella?
Yeah, I like Stella.
Do you like Shock Top?
It's okay. It's interesting.
Modelo?
Yeah, I like Modelo.
Estrella?
Haven't had it.
Corona?
With a lime, yeah, it's all right.
So these are some of the Anheuser-Busch brands. It's not just Bud or Bud Light.
They're massive, yeah. Those are some of the biggest. Yeah. I think Modelo and Stella are probably two of the best lagers in the world. Who are
I got a few more here. Boddington's. I didn't know that. Beck's.
I like Boddington's. Beck's is all right.
Boddington's that's a neat one. Lowenbrau, Hoegaarden.
Orange Boom. Good, but not, I don't know. Hoegaarden's maybe a little strange, a little hoppy or weird, but I don't know.
Have you had Orange Boom?
Nope, never heard of it.
That's a good Oktoberfest beer. They also have St. Pauli Girl.
Yeah, that's good.
Victoria, Beck's Ice, Beck's. I'll just kind of scrolling for some big brands here, but yeah, they have a lot. They have Elysian. Elysian is really good.
I'm not an IPA guy, but I'll take your word for it. I know it's popular, but
Goose Island, Labatt
Blue, really?
Yeah, Michelob, Rolling Rock.
Way
They
too
absorb
big, man.
somehow.
That's Pennsylvania. That's Chicago. That's Canada. That's too much. It's too much of a monopoly for me, anyway. But yeah, I just don't think Bud Light tastes good. At the bottom line, the great commercials, whatever, Americana, fine, but does it taste good? No. But I used to really like Michelob Light, which is interesting because it's same company, but it's a different barley, it's different hops than Bud Light, and I think it makes a world of difference. But then they got rid of that and came out with Michelob Ultra, which has no taste to me. But yeah, for the more health conscious people, they seem to dig it. But I don't drink that much anyway. But I will be drinking wine on the show tonight. Toxically Masculine Tuesday with Dr. Brooks Agnew and Mike Barra. And in about 3 hours, if I ever get out of this show, Brian, we're pushing the 3 hour mark.
Drinking wine. Do you always drink wine on Toxically Masculine Tuesday?
I know I should probably drink something a little bit more masculine, but I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, like Bud Light. Drink a gallon of Bud Light on today's show. Just for today's show. Get a gallon.
Yeah. I'll have to wear a catheter or something so I can. Yeah, no, that won't work. Not my thing. I don't want to sit here and pound beers, but yeah, wine's good.
Gotcha.
Of course, I'll take too much shit if I drink any of the seltzers.
Yeah, nothing wrong with it. Look, enjoy what you enjoy. There's no shame in enjoying what you like. Let me just wrap up a couple loose ends here. Jocelyn says what DSA for internet users means, not just in Europe, but worldwide, and its sister legislation, the Digital Markets Act, wants oversight to control the spread of disinformation and antitrust rules. Yeah, that's awful because disinformation is anything that they in power don't want you to know about, which is bullshit. So screw that. Jocelyn says that Jews worship the Elohim. Okay.
Wasn't it the old Torah and their Talmud or whatever? It alludes to these Elohim and that their gods are actually space aliens. That's coming from Cliff High. Not necessarily just him, but I mean, that is something put forth. So who knows? Our gods may be aliens and they might be the Elohim, and the Jews of ancient Israel have some sort of history with them. Perhaps, or it could be BS. I don't know, but it's interesting.
That Talmud has some really disturbing stuff in it if you want to go ahead and read it. Jocelyn asks, are they fighting over land or the portal? There you go.
Yeah.
That's what they said they were doing in Mesopotamia and Iraq. It wasn't about Saddam Hussein. It was about ancient technologies, the portals, really what Raiders of the Lost Ark was about, kind of trying to find that technology, the stuff Hitler was after, the stuff that ancient cultures have been after. So she says the portal, the Dead Sea Scrolls were found in Palestine, and recent finds caused fighting over ancient technology, of course. And of course, the army that controls the portal controls all that. And then she says she's taken off. She'll check out the show later. Have a lovely evening. Fantastic. All right, Blake, as we wrap this up. Oh, did you have a thought on that? Sorry, I kind of steamrolled through you.
No,
you
I think like a few others. I know, Brian, we even did double the show, and we're still running off the clock to avoid some of the other topics.
Well, I'll just pass on the Ivy League leaders signaling a comfortable call to violence. I say absolutely, and several of them have already been fired. Endowments have been removed. They're smirking up there, trying to weasel their way into saying what they weren't saying. I mean, you can see the video. It is big news, Blake. I think so. We don't need to kind of cover it again, but
no, it could be. I'm just like, it just seems disproportionate. Like I'm just weird every time. That's all I hear on Fox News or Fox Business. It's just anti-Semitism on campuses, blah blah blah. It's like, really, it's this crazy epidemic, and I'm not really seeing that much of it or anything like that wild. But so it seems,
but it really was like the spread of BLM, like the spread of Antifa, like the Occupy Wall Street. It's the same group of progressive liberals that wear different masks and wave different flags. They just get their marching orders. You're for this now. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. And they are literally calling for really bad stuff. And the schools are allowing it. And I like when the Democrats attack themselves. I think it's hilarious. I think there's that whole philosophy Obama-style division is the most toxic thing aside from religion and the love of money ruining this planet. So let them fight each other. What do I care? But I think it's very telling and very important story. But back to what happened on October 7th, Blake, agree or disagree that the sexual violence, see, all these code words are going to get us banned just because I said Hitler a moment ago. Now I said sexual violence. In the world that we're in, we got to go tee-hee-hee, mute. The real thing I'm saying, mute. So stupid. Behind from 10-7 is beyond anything we've ever seen, Blake. Agree or disagree that the SV from 10-7 is beyond anything we've ever seen?
I'm going to disagree because I haven't seen it, and I don't think anybody has, except for Bibi Netanyahu and maybe Anthony Blinken. So let me pull this story up here. This is according to him. Let's get this rolling. Blinken says the sexual violence that we saw is beyond anything that I have seen. If we're talking to Jake Tapper, which makes sense if you realize he didn't actually see anything. So I don't know. They keep talking about how horrific this event was, and it was. A lot of people lost their lives. 1,200, 1,400. Doesn't matter if it was 100. It's horrible. It needs to be condemned. But they seem to be, making up a lot of atrocities that don't seem to have any proof. So he's, according to Blinken, he says, I don't know why countries, leaders, international organizations were so slow to focus on this to bring it to people's attention. I'm glad it's finally happening, that he told Jake Tapper. The atrocities that we saw are almost beyond human description or beyond our capacity to digest. We've talked about them before, but the sexual violence that we saw is beyond anything that I've seen either. So I don't know where this stuff is. How come they're not showing any evidence? They're supposedly compiling it. It's all there. But the proof is just, hey, please believe us. Yeah, dude, we totally saw it. But there's no proof. Where are the 40 beheaded babies? Where are the babies in ovens? Where are all of the mass rapes and sexual mutations? All of this awful stuff, and yet there's zero proof of any of it. Not saying it didn't happen, but why are they just expecting us to just blindly believe it? And here's Max Blumenthal saying, yes, from beheaded babies to fetuses ripped from mothers, the rescue, atrocity fabrications, and now Biden and Blinken are echoing the lies. Now, Biden did have to walk that one back because he was talking about how he saw, the beheaded babies, but then he said, no, they had to say that's BS. So it's curious why they have to manufacture this stuff. I mean, it's bad enough if these horrible, animals, these radicals came over and did all these heinous things. That's bad in itself. So why do they have to make up atrocity propaganda? Or they blew up a hospital and then they're doing a photo op and showing a few weapons and acting like, oh, it was a Hamas headquarters. It wasn't actually a hospital. That was just a front. We would never blow up a hospital. So here's another one. Things you find in civilian Gaza homes. Apparently,
by the way, it is theoretically possible that they're not blasting videos of certain things online. It doesn't mean that they don't exist. Like I've seen some really gross stuff that I don't want to talk about and I wish I didn't see. But the lack of it being plastered on the 5 o'clock news, remember when that was a thing, the lack of it being plastered there doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't exist.
Well, then show it. Even just
not being released.
Blur out the explicit stuff and say, hey, this is what happened. These are beheaded babies. This is remember they showed the one that was it was like an AI thing. It was like, oh, this is a baby, like it was like burnt to a crisp in a crib, and it ended up being just some like AI generated thing. So that was, Shapiro posted that, and it came from Netanyahu.
And your concern about this is that some of this stuff could be intentionally just meant to
emotional,
drum up sympathy.
Yeah,
emotional
exactly.
warfare.
Appeal to emotions, yes, to get everybody riled up. Like, oh my God, can you believe these animals just came in there and made all these atrocities? Well, maybe they did. Certainly, yeah, people died. There was an attack. But how bad was it really? I mean, without even going into the fact that, the defenses were down for up to 9 hours. These festival goers, it could have been warned. They were warned. Nothing happened. It was like there was a stand down. It was like they allowed stuff to happen. There were kidnappings, but a lot of the kidnappings of the people that were released seemed like they were, taken care of. They weren't like, oh my God, they did such horrible things to us. It was kind of like there was that old lady that was like fist bumping. There was other people like, whether it's Stockholm syndrome or what.
Well, no, you saw the report.
They were actually treated okay. Not that I'm condoning the fact that they were kidnapped.
Well, the report was that they're being given clonazepam.
Oh, that they were drugged up and that, that's another thing. So do we believe that? Oh,
I mean, these people, when they're walking out of there, they look high.
Drugs, right? Is that true?
They're acting high. They look bizarre. They look like they're high.
Okay, but do you think that is a possibility that might be just propaganda? Oh, no, they were just given drugs. That's why they were mad, or that's why they were so happy. So maybe, where's the exit interview? Where's those people? Why don't they interview that old lady to go, oh my God, I can't believe I fist bumped that terrorist. They clearly drugged me. No, if they they could show it. It's just like they want us to believe the most insane bullshit. And it just, why would you need to go there? If this was already, if this is so bad, so why do you got to?
It really reminds me of what the American media, the lying legacy media, has done with the BLM stuff, with the Antifa stuff, with the nationwide riots. Anytime there's a black youth or a black human that ends up in some sort of situation, I mean, the American legacy media, they go nonstop with this stuff as if it's not just a one-off or not just a story that we don't have all the information on. They always try to demonize white people. They always try to use it as a political weapon to bludgeon the Trump administration with, to gain political power, to just spark outrage and really mentally abusing the people. When Jacob Blake, I mean, that guy was every sort of disgusting. Right. Reaching for a weapon inside of his car. And look what happened. Yeah. Kyle Rittenhouse, the butterfly effect of that turns into all sorts of hellish nightmares across the nation. I mean, I'm with you against deliberate, incorrect propaganda. I don't know what's true and what's not. I don't know what's coming out of there.
It sounds like, but that's the same thing. They're getting people riled up emotionally over this stuff, except instead of the left, it's the right. Now it's the conservatives. Now it's yes.
Well, no, hold on. Palestine is doing it too. Gaza's doing it too. Hamas is doing it too.
Oh, I'm sure they are. But Brian, let's focus here on Israel. We're talking about
just you said Israel's doing it, and
okay.
No,
well,
Hamas, both sides are doing.
Hamas doing? What kind of propaganda are they putting out?
Both sides are putting out as much as they can. That's what a war is.
They have the 40 beheaded babies, the babies in ovens, with the lady that they were like dragging around behind the truck or something. I mean, there's crazy shit that just it's not adding up.
Wait, was the lady a rag doll? I mean, that was.
What was that? There's a German tourist. I forget. No, but they said like they cut her head off and she was in the back of a truck or something. They stripped her naked and were parading her around, but that wasn't true either. There's a lot of things that
I saw that video. You're saying that was a rag doll? That wasn't a human with broken legs? Like I watched.
I don't think it was that same girl. No, I don't know if that was a real video or not.
Yeah, we covered that. Like they recovered her skull after.
They recovered the body, but the initial report and whatever they put on the New York Post, that wasn't actually accurate. Not to say that she didn't die. That was awful. And we'll just assume she was killed by Hamas terrorists. But I don't know if she was actually like stripped naked and run through the streets. That was not actually true, to my knowledge. And now
what else you got here?
Okay, well, on this one, I'll just say things you find in these civilian Gaza homes. They're saying they find all these guns, RPGs, missiles, combat gear, and pictures of kidnapped Israelis. Like, really, I'm sorry. I'm calling bullshit right there. So you're saying that all of these Gaza, all the pro-Hamas people in Gaza or whatever that they're fleeing their homes, and they have pictures of kidnapped Israelis. Like, that's just a common thing. Like, people are passing around holding pictures like, oh, we got them. And so they've been under relentless bombing campaigns, getting attacked, but all of a sudden they were forced to flee their homes, but they had guns and pictures of kidnapped Israelis. What a joke. I mean,
that headline doesn't say that everybody has it. I mean, if they found it once, that goes in the headline. Is the accusation that every home has pictures?
Not every home,
or they found it in a home, which means it's among the things that were found when they've been going through there. I mean, it sounds like you're not really kind of
civilians
framing it properly, perhaps.
Right. So do you think the average civilian Gaza citizen?
But that doesn't say I'm reading the headline. That's all I can read. I don't know if it says something different in the article. It doesn't say every average civilian has a kidnapped Israeli picture. It's just saying that's among the things that were found. That's how I'm reading it, unless the article explains differently.
Well, do you think? I mean, that sounds like the passport that flew out of a terrorist's wallet on 9/11.
Wait, hold on. You don't think the bad guys who, if you're Palestinian, they say 70-80% of them view them very favorably and agree with them completely, that they're not getting some sort of pamphlet or literature or Xerox copy. It's like, hey, you go door to door, maybe your internet's down and your phone's not working and you're trying to get people on your side again and to keep the faith and let's get through this. And it's like, hey, look at this. And you pass them out in the apartment building and it's like, look, we got 10 hostages over here. We're sticking it to the Israelis. Screw them. They're like, yeah, all right. Like that's propaganda they would obviously put out there. If some people, that's not unfathomable, unplausible. Like that's very plausible. I mean, you got pamphlets everywhere you are in every war. Little propaganda, like little Martin Luther's.
Okay, come on, Brian. Let's think of the logistics of this. So they go over into Israel, attack all these concert goers, and then what? Kidnap them and start taking pictures, and then making copies and running over to Kinko's or Staples, and they're making copies of pictures and they're handing them out to all the residents.
Hummus is incapable of making their own propaganda. That's not a good argument. Of course. Everybody propagandizes everything they can for every ounce of political gain and sympathy.
Come on, Brian. Does it pass the smell test? Do you think there is actually pictures of kidnapped Israelis?
I've watched it in 1,000 videos where people are ripping down pictures of kidnapped Israelis on every street corner in the USA. Of course, they're everywhere.
In the United States. Those people are sick. Those are people in the United States. That's
the people that support Hamas over there are sick too, and they say it's about 80% of them.
Okay, but do you think they actually have pictures of kidnapped Israelis just sitting in their homes? Like, oh, look at this, ha ha ha! Like they're like, oh shit, we're gonna get attacked by Israel, but yeah, let's just have pictures in our homes next to my AK and my RPGs and my combat gear. I mean, to me, this is just blatant flaming propaganda. Just to
you don't know that, Blake. I don't. Why couldn't that be a thing? Of course, it could be a thing to drum up morale. Hey, look, we got them. Stay in this fight. We got this. We're fighting these evil demons that stole our land 70 years ago. Keep the faith. Look, we got them. We're holding them in cages. We're using it to barter. Come on. Here's your gun. Here's your boots. Here's your flak jacket. And here's a pamphlet. You hand them a piece of you grab some stuff and go. That's not out of the realm of possibility by any stretch of the imagination to me. I don't know how you could see that story and go, that's proof. They're making it up. How could anyone know that? I don't see it the same way.
Because why am I supposed to even believe that? There's nothing.
Well, why would you disbelieve it? You always disbelieve anything about Israel. Like, is there anything you've ever believed them about? Like every show we do, it's like, here's the stuff you don't believe about Israel. It's like,
because
can you
some
ever
of
tell me anything you don't
bullshit.
believe about Palestine and Gaza and Hummus?
Well, because they've already lied.
It's a lie?
I just fucking said it a bunch of times. They didn't have 40 beheaded babies. That was bullshit. There was no babies in ovens. That was bullshit. All of these mass rapes and they saw these sexual atrocities and mutilations. Bullshit. They've shown zero proof. Or they blown up a hospital and they they found a few guns and now it's a Hamas headquarters. Everything, it's always something. Those human shields. It's always making an excuse. For you, they can never do wrong. It's what's fascinating to me.
I don't think you've reported on a single Palestinian story that was bullshit. It's always one-sided. One side is always lying. And the other side is always telling the truth.
No, because they've been caught in these multiple lies. Why should I believe them? When they're going to put out a fake picture, an AI-generated picture of an incinerated baby coming from the highest levels, and then they say there's 40 beheaded babies, and then there's babies in ovens, and then there's all these mass rapes. They have not shown any proof of any of that, and there is no proof that I've seen of this. So it's just ridiculous. They put out the most crazy transparent propaganda, and I don't believe it.
So on that same line of questioning, if you're questioning Netanyahu, does that make a person anti-Semitic? Agree or disagree with that?
No, that's what he would like you to have you believe, and I don't believe that. Netanyahu claims the entire world is anti-Semitic in his unhinged rant about the Hamas attack.
What's the news source here? Because anytime you put unhinged in an art, that's another buzzword that I like. Any source, if they claim you're a far right, any this or that, or if you're unhinged, you're editorializing right there in your headline. That's just like a key word for me that I know I'm about to absorb propaganda, because they're pushing a slant. Unhinged. They called Trump unhinged in half of the headlines.
All right, well, let's just listen to it. Here we go. Why don't we listen to it, Brian? You tell me what you think. Here we go.
Okay.
When the ICC investigates Israel for fake war crimes, this is pure anti-Semitism. The court established.
So now he's trying to say that there's no war crimes, that it's all fake. Now they're just accusing him, and it's pure. It's purely because they're anti-Semitic, not because he's making shit up.
This is pure anti-Semitism.
Pure anti-Semitism. Believe me.
The court established to prevent atrocities like the Nazi Holocaust against the Jewish people is now targeting the one state of the Jewish people.
These poor victims of the Holocaust, and now they're targeting them again because they're anti-Semitic.
First, it outrageously claims that when Jews live in our homeland, this is a war crime. Second, it claims that when democratic Israel defends itself against terrorists who murder our children, rocket our cities, we're committing another war crime. Yet the ICC refuses to investigate brutal dictatorships like Iran and Syria.
Now he's deflecting. Go over to somebody else. Look at them. There's other people.
Hold on about the deflecting, though. I mean, if you're going after, hold on.
Brutal dictatorship.
Rewind it at 10 seconds or something. But I was just trying to say, I mean, it's not necessarily deflecting when President Trump has his place raided, for example.
Yep.
Merrick Garland and all the weaponized Justice Department, everybody involved with NARA from the Barack Hussein Obama administration, carryovers in the Biden administration. They let Hillary get off with nothing when she has a private search. She was never president. She had no right to access classified information. Nothing happened to her. When Joe Biden, who was sitting in Congress and then he was a vice president, he had no right to that classified information that's all over his place. Mike Pence, he had no right to have all that stuff. President Trump was the only person that had the right to have that stuff. They raided him and went through Melania's clothing, everything to make him look like a monster. It's not deflecting, it's comparing. He's like, we got attacked. We're attacking back, and they're saying it's a war crime to attack back. Meanwhile, these other countries over here that are just monstrous, they don't give a shit about them. They ignore them, and they don't investigate them ever. But we're the bad guys. I can understand that perspective a little bit when there's no balance, and we're gonna just brush all these other bad things off, but we're just gonna focus on you. I think that's a fair point to mention. I don't know if it's like the most salient point in the argument, but I think it's fair to mention that.
No, well, okay. Well, that's according to you can mention that stuff, but that doesn't make it's like, oh, somebody else did it too. So it's like, well, we're talking about you because there's something like almost 20,000, over 18,000 people that have been killed already on the Gaza side, and about 50,000 injuries that I can see so far. So yes, fucking awful that 1,200 people lost their lives, whether it was all Hamas, whatever. But then he's killed 18,000. I don't know how many of those are children, like 6,000. There's a lot of like dead children. There's 5 times as many dead children as there were, died in Israel that day. That's awful.
I have a hypothetical for you. Do you think that Hamas and the Hamas supporters that are rumored to be in the north of 80% range of almost everybody in Palestine supports that group that won their election and has maintained control for what, 30 years?
You know the election, dude, you're being disingenuous. You know that election was there from 2006 and that most of the people there haven't voted for him. Most of Gaza is one of the youngest populations on the planet, Palestine. So they did not vote for those people. So it's not. That's not inaccurate, Brian. That's very inaccurate, Brian. They did not vote for Hamas. They didn't. You think?
I mean, in 2006 they did, and nobody has taken them out. And a lot of the reports that are coming out say that roughly 80% of the people in Palestine, in Gaza, do in fact support Hamas. Maybe that's not an accurate number.
That's not accurate. I don't think that's accurate either. But
do you think the people there dislike the people running their country?
Do you think those people how many people do you think actually supported these attacks? How many people that are in Palestine, the Palestinian people, how many do you think were said, yeah, that was a great idea. We want this to happen?
Well, that was going to be my hypothetical. Do you think that they regret starting this war?
Oh, I'm sure they do. Whether they started or
I'm not sure that they do. Because they refuse to acknowledge their right to exist in that region and have declared perpetual warfare.
Oh my God! You really believe that, huh?
Some of them. I don't know what percentage. I mean, that's why you don't start wars. I hate starting wars. Okay. I love the Abraham Peace Accords.
Well, like Putin, did everything possible to try to avoid war. He tried to do things diplomatically. He set things up at the border. He said, okay, this is our last chance. We're going to have to invade. And you see the restraint that he put to try to minimize any civilian casualties. He has certain objectives, and then he's out. He does not want to conquer Ukraine. He just wants to, liberate these certain areas in the east and the south because they're pro-Russian. But it was not just, carpet bombing cities. So he's not really committing war crimes. Bibi Netanyahu, what they're doing is just indiscriminately bombing everything, whether that's churches, schools, hospitals, innocent people everywhere.
Once again, the phrase indeterminately, it's a war and a lot of stuff is getting attacked because in a war, that's what gets attacked is a lot of things. To just always say it's indiscriminate, it's just carpet bombing, they're just nuking everything.
You think that you think those are strategically placed military targets?
Blake, there's not a single warfare, a single act of war, a war campaign that isn't strategic. Everything is strategic.
You're spinning this again. You can't admit that.
What's spin?
You don't think there's a war crime? You don't think that you think this is all justified?
I didn't say that.
The way that you have to spin this is that, they voted for it. They wanted this, and it's okay because they can defend themselves, and it's just war. So I guess that sucks.
I'm trying to look up the percentage of Gazans.
So, Brian, am I anti-Semitic right now by even criticizing this stuff?
No, go ahead. Play him talking a little bit more.
Okay.
Democratic Israel defends itself against terrorists who murder our children, rocket our cities. We're committing another war crime. Yet the ICC refuses to investigate brutal dictatorships like Iran and Syria, who commit horrific atrocities almost daily.
I don't even know how much of that is even that true.
As Prime Minister of Israel, I assure you, we will fight this perversion of justice with all our might. When the ICC investigates Israel for fake
war crimes. So I don't think those are anything fake about any of that. Well, here we go. Let's pull up Caitlin Johnstone. It says, no, you don't understand. The side that's killing babies and incinerating families and assassinating journalists and starving civilians and bombing cultural heritage sites and carpet bombing entire neighborhoods and driving an indigenous people off their land. No, they're the good guys. So what do you think about that, Brian? Is she wrong?
Well, I'm looking here and I found 3 very radically different numbers. One of them says a mass of 64% said they supported the attack against Israel. So that's 64%. Okay. I see another one that says,
what are those out of? How many people were polled and what publication is that?
No, of course. That's why I'm saying it's wild. But this one says 24% of Gazans expressed a favorable view of Hamas. This one says 33% of adults under 30 expressed support for Hamas, compared to 23% of those that are 30 and older.
Yeah.
But then the lead article that came back says overall 57% of Gazans express at least a somewhat positive opinion of Hamas, along with similar percentages of Palestinians in the West Bank, 52%, and in East Jerusalem, 64%. Though Gazans who express this opinion of Hamas are fewer than the number of Gazans who have a positive view of Fatah, which is 64%. So, I mean, somewhere between 24 and 64%, and Hamas has been in control exclusively since 2006.
Right.
I mean, that is their government doing it for 20 years, 17 years. That's I don't know. I mean, 18 years, however many the math works out to. But I don't know. I mean, how do you determine the percentage? You know, America, we're supposed to believe that 81 million people supported President Biden in 2020. I don't want to be on the wrong side of that. Like someone coming after me going, you should die. I should blow you up because you support Biden. It's like, I didn't support Biden. I'm on your side, buddy. You know, so some of that to some degree, who knows?
Right. So if they just, blew up 20,000 people in Louisville, just everywhere, and maybe 5% were actual terrorists, would that be okay with you? But hey, you should have done something. It was your fault. You elected them, right, baby?
I mean, but I think throwing your hands up like that the people of Gaza are just victims, like they have nothing to do with the people who keep launching violent attacks against their literal neighbors. These aren't like foreign wars in Ukraine, thousands of miles away. Like the U.S., we're not involved in Ukraine. We're not involved in. We're not connected to it. This is like the U.S. bombing Mexico or Canada, or it's like state to state. Maybe your state is fighting my state. And it's like at some point you got to look at the people who are running your state and go, guys, what are you doing? Why will you not stop attacking Tennessee? They're like, oh, my great ancestors used to live in that mountain range of Tennessee, and I will never forgive them for getting this land here in Kentucky. It's like, anyway,
what I see is a genocide. I see this as absolutely atrocious. There has been a sickening amount of people that are being killed, including all of these innocent women and children. I find that disgusting, but maybe you don't. Maybe that's
what I find disgusting is that Hamas started a war.
Oh,
and then
they started it, so
this is what happens. People die, and it sucks, which is why you should avoid war.
Okay,
that's why you should avoid war and maybe work on a deal to become a state and stop being an asshole neighbor.
So how many of those people?
That's how I feel.
Wait, how many people do you think wanted that
warfare?
Right. Okay, so they all voted for the attack. So I guess they get what's coming to them. So I don't know, Brian. Here's another one. The pro-Israel position was based on truth and morality, wouldn't depend on lies and slander. This kind of goes back into my own thing. So if your position was based on truth and morality, you wouldn't need to circulate bogus atrocity propaganda about decapitated babies cooked in ovens, and murdered pregnant women. What do you think, Brian? If this is all justified, and I'd be happy to take Israel's side, why can't they just show what's going on and take a little bit more of a measured approach in how they are going after strategic attacks? Why the rush? Why does this happen so quickly, and why can't they find a way to minimize civilian casualties?
I think minimizing civilian casualties is a great idea.
Okay, well, they don't seem to be doing that in the slide.
I don't know that they don't seem to be doing that. They are hitting back 20 times as hard because they're sick of being attacked by their neighbors, and a lot of damage is being caused. Are they intentionally targeting women and children in hospital? I mean, there are bad things are happening in war, 100%, and efforts should be taken to minimize civilian casualties. I agree with you 100% on that.
Okay, well, they're not doing anything to minimize civilian casualties.
I don't. That is a tough way to.
Okay.
I mean, that's a hell of an accusation. We're not.
It's not a hell of an accusation.
We're not hearing what's happening.
Why do you think Netanyahu is freaking out right now? Yeah, it's because he's got the international community up his ass, calling for a ceasefire. Because this has gone too far, but that's fine, Brian. Just switch it to the last topic. It's about. All right, here. Let me do. I'll do one more quick one. I know we like Caitlin Johnstone here. There is literally nothing Israel could do that its supporters wouldn't defend. Try to fill in the blank. Israel could blank, and people would defend it with something that wouldn't be true. Most of the insanely evil things you could do are already actually being done. Genocide, they're already doing that. Murdering babies, they're already doing that. Killing thousands of children, already doing that. Deliberately targeting and assassinating journalists, artists, scholars, already doing that. Israel's supporters will defend any evil, literally any evil, as long as it's being perpetrated by their favorite regime. There are zero constraints of any kind because Israel's supporters are completely uninterested in morality. If they were, they wouldn't be supporting one of the most immoral governments on this planet, even after all it has done in the last 2 months. So, Brian, is there anything Israel could do that you would condemn? If they blew up every hospital and school and killed every child, would you be okay with that? If they just nuked them, wiped them off the face of the earth, threw them in the ocean? Is there anything where you wouldn't go, geez, come on, Israel, you're going a little too far?
Are they? I'm unfamiliar with the part where she says.
Okay.
I'm unfamiliar with the part where she says they're deliberately attacking artists. I don't know what that means. What is that about?
So they're assassinating journalists, artists, and scholars. Now they probably are. I don't know anything about the artists.
Deliberately, no. I couldn't imagine a main focus of a military campaign in defense on getting just friggin' decimated one day by your neighbors. I couldn't imagine where's the benefit to going after art where they're deliberately attacking artists.
Well, you have to ask her about that. Let's not get caught I know, Brian, you're trying to avoid the question because you don't want to answer. But seriously,
well, I listened to the thing and I didn't understand.
Where do you draw the line? No, I mean, where is it? What does Israel have to do? What kind of atrocity? What could they commit where you would say, "Hey, this has gone too far"? See, there isn't. Yeah, it's weird because it's like you're afraid to answer, and I hate to pressure you, Brian. You're my friend, but I mean, this has got to stop. This is what the Zionist propaganda. They got way too much power and influence in America on conservative media, and they seems like they will go along with anything. Israel is never wrong. It's 100% justified, no matter what they do. They started a war. They got a right to defend themselves, and then they can do whatever they want. So where is the line, Brian? Okay, well, let's switch it up, Brian. Let's just go to the last one.
Well, no, I don't quite understand. The line is defeating your enemy so that you're not attacking your enemy.
Again. So what could they use?
Decimating your
gas
enemy.
Them all? Is that okay with you? What if they just nerve gassed all the hospitals and all of the children? Was that still okay with you, or would you finally say, okay, this has gone too far? Maybe Bibi Netanyahu, maybe he deserves to be investigated. You can't be doing stuff like that.
I just on the premise of some of this stuff that they're targeting artists. They're only.
I know you're getting fixated on one little tiny shred of
going after schools and hospitals and women, and this is all propaganda.
Up, Brian. Where is it? Where is it? Why are they making this shit up? Why can't they show me any proof? Just blur it out. Blur out the babies. Blur out.
Blake, you're doing the.
Why can't they show?
Okay. But you're doing the same thing. You're putting out the propaganda from that side that they're targeting artists. They're targeting hospitals and schools. There are plenty of buildings that are getting blown up because they're trying to decimate their enemy and they're sick of their neighbors killing them. But that doesn't mean they're intentionally targeting all these places. the premise doesn't ring true to me. I'm not in the war meetings. I don't know. Could I imagine Bibi lit like Dark Brandon with red and black behind him saying, okay, we will go after all of the hospitals today. That could be happening.
Okay, so finally, if you actually caught him red-handed talking about that, that would be too much for you, and you'd go, okay, finally. It feels like you're Brian, like you're like a leftist.
It sounds like a bad idea to target the hospitals.
Like a leftist in the cult, and you're afraid to break away from the Glenn Becks of the world, and you're gonna go because you have to be 100% pro-Israel. It's like a test, or you're excommunicated from all of conservative media. Can you just admit anything?
I'm trying to understand how to answer that. Like I don't answer to anybody. I'm not on payroll of anybody. I don't.
Then how can you not give a shit? It's
not my conflict. I want them. I want these people to not be dying.
Okay, well then why
the Gazans went in and butchered their neighbors, and now they're getting the ramifications of that. And it's a shitty war that should have never happened, except they refuse to become a state and acknowledge the right of those people.
You can't just say, no, I think it's fucked up that they're making shit up about beheading babies and trying to get everybody all riled up to get on their cause.
I mean, we're reading that they're targeting artists. That's not propaganda.
You're focusing on one little tiny thing. And I'll you know what? I don't know offhand an artist, but I don't think she's making that up. I'm sure they probably have targeted journalists. I don't know about artists and scholars. Maybe they were caught in the fray. I don't know. But I'm not going to dismiss everything else she said just because she said that. And I can't completely prove that.
But I guess that is the question here about innocent Palestinians.
Right.
It's trying to figure out what percentage actually supports the violent attackers that started this mess. They were just hanging out at a concert, dude.
Yeah,
like I'm really angry at the people that just
came
in and butchered. Huh?
Yeah, we've covered this. Israel saw warnings of the Hamas attack the day before October 7th, chose not to alert the Nova Festival. Everything was down for 9 hours and nothing was done as they were basically in a shooting gallery, just hundreds of whom were mown down. 9 hours, no one came to save them. Israeli security forces had enough warning signs to prepare. And Brian, this is out of the Haaretz. This is from Israeli media. You won't find this anywhere on Fox News. They will never make it even the slightest criticism of Israel.
So let me just try to follow. Is the working assumption that Netanyahu set this up to butcher his own people, or he egged on the terrorists and that they had infiltrators on the other side that planned the attack and other people found out about it and he was told and his war leaders were told and they said, no, we're gonna just explode 1,400 people today because we want to wipe out Gaza so that we can build some high rises, kind of like Lahaina. We got to clear it before we can build on it. We don't care about like the rabbit dens and the dove nests in the field. We're just going to bulldoze it all because we got to put some high rises up. We don't give a shit about the collateral damage, but let's set a fire there first so that we can just get rid of them once and for all. We're tired of them. We don't like them. They should not exist. They think we don't have the right to exist. You know what? Screw them. We're going to preemptively kill our own people, just like it was accused on 9/11 that we were involved in taking the towers down and attacking the Capitol and bringing planes down so that we could get dragged into another Middle Eastern conflict in Afghanistan and in Iraq. Is that essentially the working assumption?
It is
that it was
very strong possibility that they allowed this to happen as a pretext, just like letting Pearl Harbor happen. It's like, it's coming, but you allow it. That way you get all of the people riled up to go into the war that they were not supporting. They didn't want to go to war. They got attacked. Now we got fired up. Now you've got the support of the people. So yes, Netanyahu was dead politically. There were going to be people calling for his ouster. There were going to be huge protests all over Israel to finally get rid of Netanyahu because he's been in there for like 30 fucking years, will not go away. And so, yes, all of a sudden, now there's a huge attack. Their defenses are down. No explanation why, but we're just supposed to take their word for it, believe everything they're saying, and support them blindly without any proof. That is basically what is happening right now. And yes, there were
Is it
warnings. There were
0%?
warnings from the United States. There were warnings from Egypt. This is all documented. This is coming from the highest levels of media. This is also out of Haaretz. This is out of Israeli media.
Is it possible that Israel gets threat warnings all the time?
Sure.
So it is possible that they could have received warnings on this and stuff the day before and stuff the week before and stuff the month before and stuff every single day that they exist.
Brian doing the mental gymnastics because he can never.
Hey, I'm asking. Hold on. That's a fair question? Is it possible that they receive threats of violence and attacks every single day as a nation? I couldn't imagine. I would guess it's 100% likely, and I'm not 100% on many things, that every country gets credible threats or threats in general every single day that they exist.
Brian, you're trying to dismiss this. This was a major thing. Yes, even Egypt was saying, hey, look, we think this is happening here. They knew about this. Some were saying a year in advance that they knew that there's attacks planned. They should have been on high alert no matter what. And it's also the most secure area in the world. And for some reason, their defenses just went down for 9 hours mysteriously. And, Hamas, who has no technology, just comes swooping in on fucking hang gliders and just wipe out 1,200 people, take hostages. And none of the other parts of their argument are true. There's no, we already went over the atrocity propaganda. So all of the things that they're saying, there's no proof of. So they just watch.
So will there be a way to prove that Netanyahu did this to his own people in order to genocide his nation?
They're going to start an investigation, but there's no. So that's why I've said, they have to have a ceasefire, and there needs to be a full investigation. What is the hurry on this war?
I'm sorry, 1,400 people butchered. That's the hurry, dude. That's an easy answer.
Well,
that's not even a question.
You got to get justice for that. So shouldn't they militarily and strategically, find out the full story and find the military targets, or do you just indiscriminately carpet bomb everything and just sort it all out?
Once again, passing judgment that every attack is.
Just continue to defend this. It's Brian.
Well, but passing judgment by saying every attack is indiscriminate. How the hell do you know that? How could you possibly know that?
Because they're leveling whole fucking neighborhoods.
Closing their eyes and just doing this.
They're leveling whole fucking neighborhoods, including schools and hospitals, churches. Yeah, there's a lot of Brian, almost 20,000 people are dead. Those aren't all military people. I'm sorry. It's a tiny fraction of those were actually probably real Hamas militants. Those are innocent people. Those are war crimes. It's disgusting. You should be condemning this. And it's amazing to me that you will do mental gymnastics and come up with every conceivable thing why this is somehow justified.
Everything that I've posited is possible. Everything that I've come back with and thought about, it's plausible. It is potential.
Well, Brian, do you think it's possible that maybe I'm right on some of this stuff? Do you think maybe you could be wrong on 10% of it? Is it possible that you're wrong, Brian? Let's say maybe in the middle. Maybe you meet me in the middle, Brian. Do you think maybe it's half right, half wrong? Do you think that's a possibility? No, you won't. You won't give in. You won't give in a fucking inch. It's crazy.
Well, I don't really know what that
you're
question
like Piers
means.
Morgan. Like I'm arguing with a just rabid leftist who I got to have a reason and an excuse, and you got to bake circles.
I just don't quite follow the question. Can I admit that 50% of what? Their deaths, their killings. It all sucks, and it was all cool until they started a war.
Yeah, war sucks, right? Sure. But you think Israel has been over the top, heavy-handed, maybe committed a war crime or two, maybe even just accidentally?
Oh, Blake, yes, 100%. That's why you don't start a war. That's why you avoid war.
It's not. Well, it can't be. Nothing could ever possibly be Israel's fault. But that plays exactly into what Caitlin is saying here. There is literally nothing that Israel could do that its supporters won't defend. That is you, Brian. That is 100% you.
All right,
There's
so
nothing that could happen. And you went, well, they started it. Right.
They did. But what is the appropriate response? You wake up and you're in charge of whatever. All your neighbors, your family butchered at a big party. They're Tennessee Titans game. And
well, Brian, I would call for the international community to get involved. I would show them the proof of the attacks. I would have the whole world on my side to go root out all of these Hamas terrorists and take them all out. That's what I would do. There's no reason to. Are they going to come back and attack again? No. Have they? No. Has there been a counteroffensive? No.
Could that have been thwarted by a heavy-handed quick response? Perhaps. You have no way of knowing that couldn't have dissuaded them from something right afterward while they're in front of tribunals and they're sending emails and writing strongly worded letters. I mean, you don't know that couldn't have prevented something. The best offense being a good defense, or good defense being the best offense, what have you. So you want a ceasefire?
Yeah, ceasefire, full investigation, and if they actually have, if they were actually targeting, military targets, that would be one thing.
But you have washed away the fact.
You're losing the argument. You're losing my support when you're just carpet bombing neighborhoods of innocent people.
Well, I think it's at least possible that the staging grounds out of hospitals and mosques is something that we've seen in warfare for the past 50 years, 100%. So when some of these buildings are taken out, of course it's possible that they've been shooting stuff out of them and staging their operations there because they deem them to be safe places where they can hide. I don't think that it's a 0% likelihood that some of these places have absolutely become military targets that were exploded. I mean, I have a hard time.
Brian, I'm going to be intellectually honest. Yes, of course. Some of those places probably were. Absolutely. So they used the hospital.
And then it comes down to the question, is that 5% of the random buildings that were being staged, or is it closer to 95% or 50%?
50%. I don't know. It could be 90%, Brian. Fine.
We don't know.
Would you admit 10%
you're
of
arguing
the
like
time
you're certain about these things? And all I'm saying is we don't know a lot of these things for certain. And you've reached a lot of conclusive opinions here. I just don't think we have all of the information necessary to just everything's a carpet bombing. Everything's just random and indiscriminate. Everything is a war crime. It's like there's collateral damage, a massive amount of collateral damage in every war. If it were easy to just pinpoint everybody that participated in it, that would be ideal. I agree with you 100%. But until I see a magic wand, I don't know how to do that. And if you know how to do that, I'm all ears. I have no idea how you could pinpoint only the people responsible, only the people that voted for Hamas in 2006, only the people that give them military funding and support. I don't know how to identify all of them. I don't think you just kill everyone and let God sort them out. I think that's a little too much.
That's what
they're doing. I think that's a little too much.
Right. That's not what it's what they're doing. They have nowhere to run. Some of them go run to a place where they think they can be safe, like a church or a hospital or a school, and those are still getting bombed. So they're stuck. It's like a shooting gallery. It's fish in a barrel. But these are people. So Brian, just bring up the last thing. We'll do, or I'll just pull it up here. The last caption. So maybe you can answer me this. I know you don't want to answer. This is how the Dave Smith versus Laura Loomer thing played out, where it's just her doing circles or fixating on one thing, but never admitting that maybe Israel did something wrong. Maybe they went a little too heavy-handed. They got out of control of questions because they don't want to answer it.
Or so they flew into a rage after being butchered and they're sick of being attacked by their neighbors. I could understand that perspective. That's not I can put myself in that mental position to try.
Yeah, they're so worried. They're so in danger. Their regular lives are just always in fear of the attacks when they have like the most secure place on the planet. the backing of the U.S. military, the Iron Dome, the IDF, and the greatest surveillance state on the planet. And I'm sure they're just
the Iron Dome, didn't that fail? Pretty,
it did
like
fail.
There was a significant amount of failure on.
Right. So it was like the defenses were let down, just like Pearl Harbor. And then there's a big attack, and then we have to rush into a war. Now, at least World War II had, a villain and some justification stopping the Nazi threat. But with this,
and the Nazis were doing what? They were attacking Jews, right? They were butchering.
And now the Jews have become the Nazis.
Wow.
Well, the Zionists.
That's a tough one there. That's a tough
really?
one.
With the way that they're wiping people out, you don't think making up shit?
I mean, all right. What's this article you have here? What's this one about?
Well, this is the last one that I will get it. Are there any innocent Palestinians? This is one of the very controversial tweets from Mark Levin, a neocon warmonger Jew, just fine, Zionist Jew. So he says there are no innocent Palestinians.
What's that, Seinfeld?
There is nothing wrong with being Jewish. But if you're a Jewish supremacist and you think you're like God's chosen people and you can do whatever you want, I have a problem with that. And so many people are calling out these Zionists that they have no ancestral claim to these lands. They have no bloodline to the ancient Hebrews. They are Russian Jews from the Bolshevik Revolution. They were not well liked. And they got this homeland, which is fine. If they could have a two-state solution, that's fine. But neither of these people have been getting along.
Palestine refuses to get along with them. They refuse to barter, to broker some sort of peace agreement. They refuse a two-state solution. They want them wiped off the map from the water to the water. But like I hear this about like they have no. Hold on, real quick. Yeah. I hear that they have no claim to the homeland. These are Russian Jews. They're from Kazakhstan and all. I understand that, but I have two maps in front of me, and I just kind of glance at them. And it's like, okay, well, the people of Ohio have no ancestral claim to Ohio, yet they're there. These are just people. These were Eastern European Jews or Eastern European Catholics or Christians from Ukraine, Poland, and Austria. Then they came into Ohio, but this is Tuscarawas Indian land. So now every couple of years, there's Tuscarawan Indian attacks on the settlers there. They refuse to. It's going to be constant warfare. Well, at some point, it's like, well, how much of this is going to happen forever? Well, it's going to happen forever. If there's no solution to get along, what is the only other option? It's a really bad one. But if they're not constantly attacking the Tuscarawan tribe, who's constantly pissed off about what happened a long time ago when none of us were alive, I can understand the frustration. Anybody in America could be attacked by, these people, they came in from France and Spain set in the 1600s. They have no ancestral right to the mountains of New Mexico. We're going to fight them forever. This is Mexican land. And they constantly keep getting attacked by a certain band of indigenous or tribal people that used to inhabit some part of New Mexico. If you allow that excuse to be a reason to keep starting wars, and then complaining, oh my God, there's a shitload of collateral damage. Yeah, they kind of increasingly get fed up with your shit. I can at least understand that perspective. I'm not saying it's okay. I liked the Abraham Peace Accords when people were just cool and you could just go to a concert and relax. So if Netanyahu's behind it, fuck him, string him up. And if it can be the Palestinians' fault for once, for the first time ever, finally doing something wrong, then fuck them too. So whoever's actually behind it, screw them. Like, get along. That whole region, our entire life has been doing this.
Oh, it's over. We're way past the point of reconciliation. So that's done. So Brian, let's leave with a final question because my God, I thought we'd be done by at least 3 hours. We're already hitting 3.5 hours.
I know.
Can we find a way to make like less than a 2-hour show? Is that possible?
Yeah, yeah. Whenever you got to bounce, it's always fun.
Right.
Always. But can you tell me what Mark Levin's saying other than that headline? Like, where does he go?
It's linking to an article, which is right here. This is from D.W. Wilbur out of Town Hall, and it specifically says the opinions expressed by columnists are their own and not necessarily represent the views of townhall.com. So this is talking about the horrendous attack by Palestinian terrorist group Hamas. Then it goes into the atrocities committed by these Palestinian terrorists against innocent women, children, and elderly Israelis as the Palestinians terrorists spread carnage, blah, blah, blah. We already know that. Brutally gang raped and then executed. Toddlers beheaded right in front of their parents. Israelis set afire and burned alive. There are even reports of infants being placed in a kitchen oven and baked alive. So, which there's zero proof of any of these claims, but this is what it says. This is basically a opinion piece saying that they can seek retribution and do anything they want to Palestine in retaliations. So there are no innocent civilians. There's no innocent Palestinians. So let's get a few things clear. First of all, there are no innocent Palestinians. When a population raises their children from the time that they're toddlers to hate and murder Jews, they have forfeited any claim of innocence and not being responsible for the brutal acts committed on October 7th.
Okay, pause.
Yeah.
The children are raised to hate and murder Jews. That is true, right? You do agree with that?
In some cases, there might be, absolutely. I'm not saying that there won't, but I mean, would we want to say like 100% of them? I don't know. So is that a full thing? Does that justify the attacks? Does that mean that no matter how many people die, that they deserve it? And how many, like, again, how many of these people are kids? They have no idea what's even happening. So I don't know, Brian, I see dozens of videos every day on X of new children, like with, limbs blown off or dead. I find it horrific. I would like it to stop. Those people didn't vote for Hamas. They don't know what's going on. Or I saw a video today of a poor girl who lost 15 members of her family, and now she's having surgery with no anesthesia because they've got no medical supplies. That's awful. So I don't like any of this stuff. So there are innocent Palestinians. So I don't know. So Brian, that's the question to you, because Mark Levin seems to not think that there are no innocent Palestinians, to which he's taking a lot of shit for it. 7.4 million views, but of course he's quite proud of that.
What was it in that article? There were a couple points. That was the first point, that the kids are being taught to grow up in their schools. The parents are teaching the kids to keep this constant rage and anger and hatred and murderous ideology alive.
Is that true, Brian? How would you want to say 100% of it?
I have no idea.
Okay,
what percent. More than zero.
Well, you're pretty much pushing the opposite by saying, yeah, it's all.
No, I have no idea what percent, but
all right. So, okay, let's say it does happen. It's somewhere between 1 and 100%. Okay, but probably, or 1 and 99.
Call it 50%.
Okay, fair enough. Secondly,
and we're just, I don't know, but like it is happening. What else did they say? What other reasons
well,
did they give?
Civilian casualties are a fact of war.
The parents are,
okay, well, no, you wanted me to. Okay, here we go. Secondly, civilian casualties are a fact of war. Yes, that does happen. You do your best to minimize it, but sometimes that does happen. That's absolutely a fact.
Well, I would just argue that a lot of times collateral damage is a massive percentage of the people affected.
Right.
A large percentage of the casualties of war are innocent bystanders, which is why a responsible nation tries everything they can to avoid a conflict in the first place.
Like Putin, but you're not seeing that there is zero restraint going on with Israel right now. They do not want to cease fire, and they don't want to be told what to do.
That's not,
they don't want
there is a Samson option that they have not done, which is restraining that. So some percent of restraint is
so kind of them to not resort to nuclear weapons, right?
Well, no, but hold on. You're doing the 1%, 100%.
Yeah.
They are not dropping neutron bombs and leveling the entire place.
Not yet. No.
So there is some restraint being shown. So if we're just being honest here, some restraint is being shown because they
by
haven't
not using nuclear weapons is showing some restraint. Then I guess so. Yes, I guess. Wow, it's amazing restraint that they haven't resorted to the Samson option, which is something Mark Levin has got a war boner over. So Here we go. Secondly, civil. So yes, we talked about that. So third, Israel must complete their mission to destroy Hamas and to pacify Gaza and the West Bank. To do anything less will only allow Hamas or other Iranian-sponsored terrorist groups to rebuild, regroup, and attack once again. A message must be sent to the world at the world's words never again. Voiced after the Holocaust. It's always the Holocaust, bringing it up because you can never criticize them for it because it's the Holocaust, which is fucking awful. I agree, but it's always used for this, justification that they can do whatever they want. So,
would you like to see as an outcome of this that Hamas is completely wiped out?
Oh, you can. I don't care. You can take every Hamas, every Nazi. What other hate groups are out there? Antifa. I don't care. Yeah, you just toss them all into their own little country. Throw them all on an island somewhere for all I care. No, I'm not going to stand up for Hamas. I'm standing up for innocent Palestinians. And I'm calling out the fucking bullshit. I'm sick of the fucking Zionists and all their shit. So whether it's ADL or AIPAC, there's way too much power and influence and money going around. And it's poisoning this planet. And we're watching the facade. You're talking about the mask coming off right now. You're seeing who these people really are. You're seeing what Netanyahu really is. You're seeing Ben Shapiro for what he really is. Mark Levin. So I'm sick of it.
All right, but we also saw Hamas in Gaza for what they
many
are.
pegs, right?
But okay, yeah, but just remember what started all this. We're seeing Palestinians and Gazans and Hamas for what they are. This is what they did to start all of this. That's what started all of these bad opinions from all these Jewish people that you're talking about. We saw the violence in the hearts of the people that butchered and massacred somewhere around 1,000 to 1,500,
300 to
Israelis.
1,400, whatever it is. It's got to be condemned. But I will condemn that. Absolutely.
And so we saw what was in their hearts, and it's this constant hatred. They refuse to accept that they have any right to be where they are, and they will not stop butchering those neighbors. At some point, if you won't stop killing your neighbors, you gotta go.
Before that attack, Brian, how many Jews in Israel were actually killed by Hamas terrorists before this attack in the last 20 years?
I don't have.
Want to compare the numbers of how many Palestinians were killed versus how many people in Israel?
No, don't do that.
That's rockets. Rockets were such victims. Oh my God! Like how many people actually died?
That's a terrible argument. No,
Right.
don't do that.
Right.
You're
well,
a smart guy. That's a really bad argument. Like how many Nazis were killed? Wasn't that a disproportionate amount of Nazis
your
that were killed
neighbors
in World War II?
You're making the claim that maybe your neighbors are terrorizing you. They're attacking them, blah, blah, blah. Or you bring up, Adam Carolla. It's like a neighbor with a machete on your bed. But how many actual people were really killed from, Palestinians?
I don't know.
The
How
numbers are pretty staggeringly against. So yes.
Well, how many?
They shoot
how many
up
people?
rockets, and maybe there's a few minor injuries or something, and then Israel comes in heavy-handed, starts bombing places, and there actually are people that are killed. So I'm not saying.
Well, I assure you, if your neighbor is drunkenly shooting a shotgun at your home, every couple months, every couple years, you do get sick of it. You do get fed up with it. If they missed. They only got my dog. Yeah, they got my sister, but I mean, I don't know. Got my neighbor, but I don't know. It's just a shotgun.
Yeah, they're not on the same level militarily. It's not even remotely close. So I'm not gonna say that it's good that they're shooting even rockets at them, what have you. But it's a disproportionate retaliation.
So there was a ceasefire, but it was brief, and now they're back at it. Is that the latest here?
Yeah, they're back at it, and there's a lot of people that are getting killed, and it's pretty disgusting and disturbing. But Brian, I got like, oh my God, this is like an hour longer than I wanted to go. I got other things to do today, Brian. Can we ever get these shows under 2 hours? All right.
Like I said,
Anyway.
anytime you need to go, you just let me
Right.
know.
I know. Well, I finally, thank you. I finally got to talk about Israel-Palestine because that was continually pushed off towards the very last, couple of minutes. So, all right. Well, cool.
It's the same. It's kind of the same story every time. It's kind of more of the.
It's Brian dancing around.
Nothing changes.
Right?
It's the same story, and I don't find it particularly compelling.
Really,
it sucks.
Right. You don't find this compelling, the conflict going on over there. There is a
what can we say that hasn't been said?
This is awful. This is beyond war. This is absolutely genocide. So, and I think Netanyahu is a dangerous individual, and he should be brought up and investigated until we find out exactly what happened that day. And then if it's, whatever, if it's just all Hamas and it's all justified, then fine. But I don't see it that way. But I'll be curious to see what unfolds.
But if there can be a Nuremberg style that definitively proves that Netanyahu did this to his own people just so that he could do another Suez Canal right through Gaza and claim all the land, and he just had to get rid of it like they did in Lahaina. You got to burn everything down in order to build up again. Look, if that can be proven, I told you, I'm on board.
Okay, well, that's good enough. All right.
There you have it. Yeah, but this is what happens when we get into this topic. It goes on forever. So, I do try to get to other stories usually, but I think we handled ourselves a little more calmly than we did the other time. I think we leveled up a little bit. We got a little fired up, but we did a little better, I think. Maybe.
A little better, but Brian, still not. I still don't find your arguments in good faith. I still find them to be 99.9%. Very much neocon, pro-Israel, no matter what. But that's okay. Yeah, I'm glad you were here to have the debate either way.
And I preferred life when we had peace under the Abraham Accords. You would agree that with that?
You're making glorify these like Abraham Accords. They were only around for a few years, and you act like
and those were a great couple of
years,
right?
These golden era, these generations of people living in peace and prosperity. No, it wasn't that great.
Wait, do you disagree? You don't like the world better when
it was,
Trump
but
negotiated
you're making it sound like it was something
working?
So much more glorious than it really was.
I mean, peace is glorious compared
peace
to
is great, yeah, but it wasn't
collateral damage.
30 years. It wasn't like anything substantial. It was a few years of the Abraham Accords, and I don't know. So if it was that great, but yes, it was certainly better. Life was better before fucking 10/7 happened. That's for damn sure. So I see it as another 9/11. Israel's yes.
I think everybody proportionally sees it as another 9/11.
Yeah.
Like they said, it like the percentage of people that were butchered in our attacks, the percentage of our small nation was way bigger than what happened on 9/11 compared to the vast size of the United States. But yeah, I mean, it's on the scale of a 9/11. It's just an absolutely catastrophic, gut-wrenching.
All right. Speaking of gut-wrenching, Brian, I have got to go. This is like a 4-hour marathon. I am exhausted. I still got another show in 2 hours, and I got a lot of things to do. So let's call it here for the love of God. And
where do we find you, Blake? Where do we find you?
It's the Blake TV's Blake Walley on Twitter and the nextlevelnews.com for the archive.
Excellent. Signing out over here, Brian Engelman. Please check out the New American Media and the Agree to Disagree show everywhere. We appreciate you. We love you. We'll talk to you again on Thursday. Take care. Peace. Peace. Really. Peace. This is a great way to end the show. Blake, throw up your V.
Peace. All right.
We want
peace.
Peace.
Not to fucking talk about this damn thing anymore. All right.
That would be fantastic.